Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, and so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show. Booyah!
The Tuesday crew is here! Woo, woo, woo. Mike Polk in the house.
Happy to be here, guys. Thanks for having me. I'm wearing my NASA t-shirt in honor of the performance of Josh Dobbs.
That's smart. Very smart.
He did a great job. I got it from a thrift store. There is a bleach stain on it, but let's look past it and just be thankful for Josh Dobbs'
What'd you
performance.
give for that?
What did I pay
50
for it?
cents?
This was half off at Savers on a Monday. My guess would be this was probably $2.25, something like that.
It's not bad at all.
deal.
Not at all. Thank you.
You know
Especially
what?
look,
Free
I'm getting
bleach
used to it.
stain?
That's a good deal. I got to pay like $50 for my shirts because I need like 3 extra.
Sure, absolutely. Well, that's
The
two
extra
shirts.
material.
That's 2 shirts stitched together.
Exactly.
The best thing about NASA is, people say everybody has an opinion, but if you're a regular person, we disregard all opinions at NASA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no.
You don't qualify.
You don't qualify.
No
idea.
You
You
can't
have
say
to be
anything.
Mensa, IQ 165 plus.
Yeah.
You don't walk in the door without that.
No, I know.
By the way,
ahead.
you guys
Oh, there he is.
missed a
Guys, there's
like
Josh Dobbs taking off.
you guys missed a great conversation before the show. We were talking about fights, like getting into fights.
Yeah.
Fist fights.
Yeah, G came in at the end of the conversation, but Earl, who's new to our team, and I got into a lot of fights when we were like teens into the early 20s.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah,
Not with one another.
and then Anthony talked about getting into one fight, and Mike said he got, and surprisingly, G has not been in a lot of fights. You figure he's a big kid, people want to,
That's why. Who wants to tangle with
Yeah, but
those?
sometimes you want to challenge the big guy.
That's true. My dad, who's a giant, especially he used to be a giant who also, now he can barely turn around. It's like watching a steamship trying to turn around. But back in the day, he was a giant dude, 6'7", about 3 bills. Dudes would come up to him at the bar, little dudes who were drunk and wanted to challenge him because they had little guy complex. And they're like, I'm going to take on that guy. I'll show that woman who never loved me. And then she goes to my dad, and he's like, hey, buddy, I don't like the way you're looking at me.
Dad would tie him up in a press.
Were you good at diffusing situations?
No. I was good at not wanting to go to jail. The cops was
Smart.
like,
Good answer.
I remember we did a self-defense class, me and my brother. Now my brother is larger than me. He's an offensive lineman, so he's like 6'3", 6'4". He's like 340, right? And so we go to this self-defense class in college, and it's our last semester or whatever. And I'm just taking it just to get some courses. I'm like, I'm gonna be here for 5-6 years. Let's go ahead and do this. And the cop came in. He said, all right, we're gonna teach self-defense. He said, but I want to show you this. You guys right there, you guys are football players. He said, even if somebody attacks you, you are only allowed to use force as much as possible in order to get out of the harm of that individual.
To defend yourself from harm.
Because you're walking weapons.
Yes.
That's a
what he
pretty
said.
fine line right there.
And that's pretty cool, too. They
What's the
told
weight
Van
and
Damme
height
that.
for that? I don't think I
right.
qualify.
I didn't even know that, Mike. He was like, because if somebody comes up and punches you, they're going to say, an attorney's going to say, you lift weights every day. You're faster than him. You can run away. You could just restrain him. But if you hit him, and even if he hits you first, that's not self-defense, and that's assault. And I said,
But who could think about that in the moment, though?
Yeah.
Well,
Who even knows that? I didn't know. I didn't know that was.
Yeah.
a
never
thing.
knew that.
Plenty of time to think about it in a jail cell if you do something wrong. So I'm
Right.
sure that gives you a little more pause.
Yeah.
And also, so it's essentially like you are always, you are always the male in a situation like that, and every other male is the female, where they are given the
allowed to hit
benefit of
him.
the doubt. You're not allowed to
You
touch.
can't do it. That's
crazy.
That stinks.
But I
that's
got into
tough.
tons of fights, between 15 and 22, 23.
I can't imagine. I can't imagine
me
that you
at
would
all.
upset anybody.
No.
Anybody would want to come after you.
Yeah, I mean,
off top. If you say anything, Bull is like, what?
I was telling these guys.
You're a moron.
I got into a fight at a White Castle once. That was-
Over?
Have I not told this story?
No.
Is this story okay to tell in the air, you think, Mike?
Just censor the one word you told us before the show.
The word that started
I'm
it.
intrigued.
Well,
The word that started
There
it.
was a racial component to it because I was with 3 guys and we were the only white guys in this White Castle, that was so somebody one of the people there called me a crazy because I was fighting. We're in White Castle, and do you ever have a friend in your friend group who's like a real pain in the butt? like drives everybody crazy.
Sure.
There's
Yeah,
always
every
one
group
guy
has
in that friend
one.
group.
Yeah.
So there's this guy, his name is Greg Cohen. I think he's like the commissioner of the City University of New York.
They always
sports
end up on
conference
top,
now.
those ones.
This guy. No, he's a mess. But
Hope Greg's
he's
watching.
fatter than me. And no, he's probably not. Anyway, so we're in this White Castle. It's like 4 of my friends, including this guy Greg, and I don't even know what he said to me, but he was driving me nuts. And I like jumped over a table basically to a. Now, this was no great accomplishment. This guy was like 5'2", 125 pounds.
Right.
But he was such a pain. He talked like he was the biggest man on campus.
Right.
And he was such a pain in the ass. So I'm like beating the crap out of him in this crowded White Castle in Starrett City, Brooklyn at like 1:32 in the morning.
Right.
And then this woman goes, "Look at these crazy blah, blah, blahs."
You deserve that, by the
And
way.
then I just started
deserve that.
laughing because what she said was really funny. It's
true.
So, but yeah.
And the White Castle manager was like, just another Thursday.
Yeah, we see it every day.
Yeah,
here.
exactly.
We see it every day here. Yeah, fights. I feel like fights when you're young happen all the time.
Yeah.
I feel like as we grow up and we learn the law, and
Yeah,
we're
you get
afraid
what
of
you get away
jail,
from that.
we
were just
wisen
talking,
up.
I was just hanging out with some friends from college, and we were talking about that. There used to be, just even when I was in college 20-some years ago, a lot more fights than there are nowadays.
Oh, yeah, because
There'd be
now you're worried about weapons
like
and all
3
kinds of
fights a night. And
Yeah.
everything's more litigious. And I think we've taken a step in the right direction.
Yes.
We make a lot of wrong moves in this society, but it's good that there aren't but there would just be like some old-timey Western fight that would break out in a bar.
Now, all that being said, if you
twice
think
a
they've
night.
gone away, just go to World Star. They haven't gone. They haven't disappeared.
What is that? I don't know what that is.
What?
I don't know what World Star is.
We will do a top 5 of best World Star videos.
So
in the near
it's
future.
basically a site
Yeah.
that anytime there's a fight,
Oh, they like a
people
street fight.
upload it. And
Oh.
these things, I'm telling you, you talk about going down a rabbit hole.
Yeah. Oh my God.
See in 2 hours once you
Yeah,
click
and
on
you'll
the
be
first
angrier
one.
and dumber when you come out of that rabbit hole.
And you know what? You'll have less faith in society.
So it's all
You
just
will.
street fights.
It's all
basically.
street
It's
fights.
probably
Oh, wow.
killing us.
I will
women.
tell you.
I'm going to have to
And
check
while
that
they're
out now.
taping them now, they yell "World Star."
Now,
unreal.
most of the time, alcohol is involved in this, and the reason
Sure.
I didn't get too crazy with alcohol or with guys is because I told you,
Yeah.
when I got drunk, I didn't even. All the guys disappeared.
Yeah.
they were gone. It was just only women there. I was
Yeah.
like, "Hey, G. Bush, we never saw you." I said, "Yeah, I wasn't looking for you, dog,
Right.
at all."
I didn't care how you were doing.
All right, I don't know how we got on that fight tangent.
Yeah, I don't know.
But can we call up the coming up slate that we always put up every day before the show?
Yeah, of course.
Anthony, one of our producers, is so positive. I want you guys to read number 2 on that list.
Look?
Oh my God.
What the hell evidence do we have that that's true, Anthony?
Brissett blossoming into quarterback
He hasn't
blood?
taken a snap.
He's just putting it into the universe. He's hoping it comes true. Good for you, Anthony.
We love your optimism, though, bro. We
I
love
think
your
it should say
optimism.
Brissett stepped in bleep to become the quarterback one.
Right.
He said blossoming.
Yeah.
Like he had
G.
saw
Bush
like
and I looked at that on the slate before the show, and we're like, who wrote that?
Right.
Blossoming.
What video do we have to bring? And you know what? On that,
We can't play any videos. So
Yeah,
there's no
so
video that
we
shows
just
whether
have to-
he
we
is
have to
blossoming
take-
or he is not
We
blossoming.
You know
have to
what's
take
crazy?
Anthony's word for it.
Yeah.
we do. We're going to take his word for it. We're going to talk about this later in the show. He's not going to play in preseason game number 2 either.
Yes.
And I'm sorry. I
Nope.
usually defer. He's the coach for a reason.
Nope.
Way smarter than I am.
Hate it.
I just think this is. We'll
Hate it.
table that.
Yeah.
We'll come back to it. We're going to start today with appeal anxiety. We all have it.
Yeah.
It's a disorder. I'm sure there's some sort of pill we can take for it. I
hope.
But I'm getting to my breaking point of appeal anxiety because we're in day 13 now. What the hell does expedited mean?
Right. I guess it's pretty relative now that you
I
mentioned
mean,
it.
I guess it means a sped up process.
Yeah.
But if this is sped up, I would hate to see the glacial version.
This just
Right.
sucks. It all sucks.
It really does
It
suck.
sucks. The off the field stuff sucks. The waiting for the decision sucks. And what we know is if it's a season or more, it's still not over.
Right.
Because you know the players' union and Watson are not going to stop if it's a season or more. The only way this ends, I think, when he makes this decision, is if it's 12 games or less.
Yes. Anything less than a season, it's over.
Right, it's
Yeah,
over.
it's
But
over.
if it's a season, we're still going to be waiting for something.
Yeah, and
The court
I
or
guess
whatever.
there could be one scenario where it's not over if the NFLPA decides to appeal a 12-game suspension. There's no indication now that they won't.
Right.
We know
But
that.
can they? Isn't this the
Well,
last
no,
appeal?
by appeal, take it to
You go
federal
to court. Yeah, okay,
That's what I'm
Right.
talking about.
I know that I know that what you're saying is in a way is interesting to the viewers and is relevant. But just this talk is just the look on me and G. Bush's faces right now. Where you guys are like, well, you could go 12. Well, it could though, but then they could appeal, and we're just like, and because we've been just talking about this and listening to it, and no one actually knows what's going on.
No.
And
We're all guessing.
At every turn we've been guessing, and this whole time it's just like it's almost. I think we're gonna look back at all this time we talked about this, and we're just gonna if you had to watch tape of it in once we're through it.
That's how they're going to
in a couple
torture
months.
prisoners of war.
Exactly. It's going to be used in
put
Guantanamo.
our show on a loop and let it go.
It'll be at Guantanamo. They'll be like, where you got the weapons buried, and then they'll just play us just going. I mean, I'm going to go 6 games still. I feel like it could go 8 games.
You know what's going to happen?
Could go 8 or.
When it's finally all said and done, all 4 of us will be able to say, I called it.
Yep,
You're
exactly.
right.
Because we've all talked about this so much. At one point, I was at 4 games.
Right.
At one point, I was at a full season.
I will say this though. This is miserable. It sucks. But I really am at that. I'm a point of peace right now, where I've been in chilling for a while, and I'm waiting to see what happens. I'm cool with whatever it is. I've almost sort of I won't say given up on the season by any means, but I've given up on the idea of this being a normal season, that everything's just going to be fine and great.
That ship sailed the
so
day
I'm
we
just
got Deshaun Watson.
I'm interested to see what happens now.
you know-
I'm not beating myself up over
This
it.
reminds me a lot, right? And this is why you say political things, right? Remember how there was one point in time it just seemed like the president was getting impeached every day, like over something. It was and it just kept going on and on and on. And then it put people in 2 different factions. One that was just like, dude, you're just gonna get them or the other group was just like, I can't digest no more.
Well, it's the boy who cried wolf at some point. You're like,
just-
well, wait a minute. If everything is impeachable,
Yeah,
is anything impeachable?
and
it's like this.
In fairness, a lot of things were impeachable. But that's neither here nor there.
Here's the thing on that. It's all in the eye of the beholder. That's what we've learned. We've learned that there were people willing to put on Vikings costumes and storm the Capitol they believe so strongly in the cause.
Yeah.
And we believe that others will say, well, really, if the president says that he's inciting violence, that's impeachable. But if Chuck Schumer threatens a Supreme Court justice who might have his life threatened for real,
Do you see
is
how-
that impeachable?
This definitely does sound like the comment section under a YouTube video. Right
Yeah,
now.
which is why we typically cannot
right.
go there.
Yep.
And you know what the crazy part about it is? The only people that really take the L's are the people who comment on it, right?
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more with what you just said.
I mean, except when I do, because I blow everybody up. Boom. No, I'm kidding. I waste my time too.
No, you know what?
You
Here's
take
a-
an L. You just
You're
I take
trying
an L.
to-
I take an
when
L.
you try to persuade someone into a political ideology, you might as well try to tell them that their favorite color isn't what they say it is. It's burned into the DNA at this point. It's baked into the cake. You're not going to. All of these tweets, all of this public discourse, which is so over the top.
Right.
When was the last time you ever saw an inflammatory political tweet and one of the comments was, you know what? You're right.
Right.
And I'm no
Yeah,
longer.
we do it because we're frustrated more than
You know
changing
what?
minds.
But screaming your frustration in a public setting, does that make your
That
frustration
is
better?
That is
or
exactly
worse?
what we're doing here now about Deshaun
He
Watson.
got it.
exactly right.
That's where we are.
Yes.
That's where we
That's
are. with
Nuggets
Watson.
is going to save us right now.
Yes.
Yes, Mike Polk, did you bring the golf?
I didn't. That was my
I know,
attempt
I-
at the golf joke to clear the table right there.
I wondered where the book was.
I forgot it again.
Wait, leave it here.
I know.
Why
I
would
keep
you
forgetting.
take
no one's going to
because
steal the golf joke book.
I'll tell you why. I know no one wants the golf joke book, you guys. And in case you're just joining us for some reason, haven't seen the show before, where have you been? But I have a golf joke book down here from the 60s with terrible golf jokes. So whenever we start talking about politics or it gets too boring, I can take it out and tell a hilarious golf
Diffuse
joke.
the situation.
If I use
Yes.
it, but I keep taking it home because I want to go through it and highlight
so
something.
you're not leafing through it live.
So I'm not leafing through it live, and
That's
some
a
of
good
them are a
idea.
paragraph long, and some of them are very sexist because it's from the 60s, So I just want to get 10
Just
good ones.
remember to bring it back to work.
But
with
I've never never one time when I got home and I'm like, you know, this is a good time to go through that terrible golf joke book in case we need it. So I just
well,
haven't
stay
done it.
tuned because we're going to be talking abortion and religion in a few
Yep,
minutes.
get
That's in
ready.
the second hour of the show. Also, gun control too.
And let's get rid of
You got
affirmative
something else.
action already. Come on, it's been long enough.
We have talked about the
Yeah.
Watson situation at nauseum, but
Yeah.
today there is a little bit of a nugget that we haven't got to yet that I do want to hit on before we move to Brissett blossoming.
Sure.
The quarterback.
That's what I heard. I heard Brissett's blossoming. I saw that somewhere.
Last week, Charles Robinson was on the show and said there was scorched earth between the NFL and the NFLPA.
It feels
but
that
after
way.
the apology on Friday, let's take the tag board, Steve. Charles tweeted out that there is a window for a possible settlement here, and that's, to his speculation, why Peter C. Harvey's taking so long to announce a decision on this
But I do
appeal.
think that the key, I saw that the key thing that you pointed out was speculation.
So do
Like,
you guys think there is any
I don't
chance
see
of
him
settlement
quoting
here?
a source inside the league who said
No.
or a source inside the NFLPA who believes.
It does. No, you're right. But it does make sense just based on a timeline thing. I
Yeah.
mean, like, why wouldn't they? Like we've been saying, he has all the evidence. It's not, you think he's just like walking around a room looking at that same pile of evidence going, and looking at it different and going, it's
not changing.
It's over.
Listen,
You know,
yeah.
so I think he's hoping they do
It's
that.
enough. Make the freaking decision and move on.
or come to a
It's enough.
settlement. I think that would be ideal for everybody.
Did the NFL not hear Deshaun Watson's incredibly moving, heartfelt apology to all
You
of
weren't
those
here yesterday.
women?
What did you
right.
make of that?
What did I make of it?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I thought that was. I think no apology would have been way better than that apology.
Yeah, I agree
I
with
thought that was pretty brutal. I thought it was stupid. If you're gonna do it, if you're gonna just stay on the same thing as I can't speak about it until this is all settled and done. I think.
No, he blew that
I think it
narrative
looked
up.
desperate. I think it
that's what I
looked,
thought.
and I think it probably and it looked very obvious and blatant why he was doing it.
And rehearsed.
And I think it made him look worse than he looked before the apology. I think he should have stayed on cue and said, and God bless Aditi for getting it done. That's what she does. That's great. She did great. And that was
Yeah.
great journalism. I mean, that's exactly, she handled it well. But no, I think that was, I don't know who's advising him. I don't think, was that his
I
lawyer?
said the same thing. I said I wanted to know: is this Watson's camp? Is this
I think it's
the
the Browns. I think it's
camp?
the Browns.
If it's the Browns camp,
It's
I'm
embarrassing.
mortified.
It's embarrassing.
Yeah,
because
it
they
was a
should
bad
know
call.
better.
It was
They're a
so
professional
bad.
sports organization. They should have on staff paid professionals that deal with nothing but scandal.
Yes.
And they have to understand how you get out in front of it, how you diffuse it. And to me, they lit the fuse.
Yeah.
Because remember, all along he had been saying, I never have ever disrespected
Right.
a woman. Now he's done a full 180. I apologize to all
Not
the
even
women
a
that
full
I've brought into
180.
this
If it were a
situation.
full 180, I think it would be more acceptable than he did like 145, where he's like, if some people or entities were troubled by anything that happened, that's been horrible
Well,
for me.
any
And I'm
expert
like,
on
what are
apologies
you doing?
Yeah.
will tell you that if you use in your apology, if
Right.
you're done.
It's like when
because
you-
now you're just saying, from my perspective, things are cool.
Right.
But if you were offended,
Right.
I'm sorry. That's the worst
It's like the
apology you
people
can
who,
give.
when somebody says something racist, comes out and says, "Well, I wasn't trying to be racist, but if you were offended by what I said,
Yeah,
sure.
it's
Right.
which is meaner than just saying.
right.
But if he really would have come out and done a heartfelt
It's-
one, and he meant
that's
it,
basically like saying you're being ridiculous, but I'm going to apologize because I have to."
yes,
Right.
yes,
Yeah, but
because
That's how it
what
came off.
surprised
Now
me.
Now I will say one thing, and it is possible to defend Deshaun Watson, that the four of us are used to talking on the radio and talking on TV. This is what we do for a living.
Sure.
He's a professional football player. He doesn't talk for a living. Okay?
Part of his job includes
Part of his
talking for a
job, but
living,
that's not his,
but it's not
his main job.
No.
And it might have been a situation where, as time goes by, maybe he came to some sort of realization that, you know what, I did go too far.
Then explain
And
that.
I'm uncomfortable
Then explain that.
apologizing, and I did it a poor job with it.
I agree with you.
I think that's
you think
possible.
he did it on the fly without any counsel?
Oh,
from
I
the-
don't-
No,
I
I
don't
don't.
think that.
But I think he
Well,
was
then
so
somebody
awkward about
there
it.
should have
They
said,
screwed up.
Yes.
Here are the words you have to get in there if you really want this
Right.
to be
So-
effective.
And by the way, you role play that interview 20 times.
They should have.
Yes.
You don't do it with Aditi.
Yep.
Somebody's playing Aditi's
Right.
part,
Yeah.
and they ask the
got-
question, and he goes over, and they videotape it. Mm-hmm. And they watch the tape back, and they
Right.
say, what
Yep.
was strong, what was weak. Keep the strong, lose the weak. Let's add this phrase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need, and I know it seems so disingenuous, but folks, let's face it, that's what it is.
That's
Well,
That's what it is.
I think they came to the conclusion that we're going to give you an apology. Deshaun Watson isn't really a politician. He's not a speaker. And they've already baked into the cake that, guess what? For some people that are in the middle, see, they're not going for the fringe people. They're not going to all the way to the right.
no, those people are made up. They've made up their
All
mind.
the way
It's
to the
just like
left.
politics.
So-
Most people are in
You're
their
not gonna
camp.
change
So
their
what,
mind.
so what he wants to do is, we just want these little few in the middle, the little 20% that say, I'm disappointed, man. I like him kind of, but he's not showing no remorse. So they say, okay, let's give him a statement. You give him the 20%. Now all of a sudden, he looks a little better to the people that are able or
Does he,
would
though?
open his mind.
Have you heard anybody say that they thought that was an effective apology, and all of a sudden I think maybe I'm on side with this guy? Because I think they blew it. If that's what they were trying to
They
do.
had the opportunity to do what G. Bush said.
You're
I just
absolutely
think
right.
they swung and missed.
Well, here's the thing. Like we say, most of those individuals aren't on social media.
True.
You either super left or super right.
Yeah.
To most people in the middle,
They just
all
heard he apologized.
They heard it apologize.
They didn't even see
They
the
not
apology.
drilling down into
That's
it,
true.
and all they
That's
want to
true.
know
Yeah.
is, when are you gonna play?
And it did check a box because I do believe Charles is onto something. The fact that Sue L. Robinson said that Deshaun has shown no remorse.
Right.
I think this, okay, well, let's check that box.
Right.
Right.
And by the way,
And
the NFL is
he
checking
fell on the
boxes
sword.
too. They got the Dolphins for.
Yes,
it's like,
they
yo,
are.
you got that? We're gonna have to go ahead and penalize you for the tampering.
Yeah.
Then they went and settled the racial norming, right?
Yes.
That settlement came down. They finished
Right.
that.
By the way,
cleaned that up.
no coincidence that these things are happening.
Absolutely not.
And all of
Yeah,
those,
yeah.
all of those
all of
boxes,
them.
and all of those boxes you're checking are coming up short in actual reality as far as what they should be.
Right.
That's true.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
but
That's
it's
the other
public
thing.
perception.
Yes.
Right.
No, we addressed the Dolphins. We addressed the CTE racial bias.
Yeah. Right.
We addressed this. We
I
addressed
said I was
that.
sorry.
Everything's
Like,
taken care of.
But
Yeah.
you know, I still think it behooves everybody. I think your analogy, you were the first one I heard use this phrase, and I think it's perfect. Both parties had their hands on the nuclear button.
Yep.
And they were both ready to fire. And what usually happens in these situations, for the sake of humanity, in the real world, things cool down, diplomacy takes place, you take your finger off the button, and you come to some settlement. And I think that we were at a point where they were staring at each other with their fingers on the buttons. And I think the NFL realized the NFLPA can burn this whole thing down.
Right.
And I also think that the NFLPA realized our hands and our fate kind of rests with Roger Goodell. Let's come together.
They should.
Fix this amongst
They
ourselves.
could even. I think it's possible that they settle and yet they make it seem. What's the guy who's doing the
Peter
appeal?
C. Harvey.
Peter C.
That
Harvey.
Peter C. Harvey. They make it seem like it was his decision.
We got a picture of that dreamboat? Let's throw him up there if you get a
Because,
chance.
His mustache is
the one
classic.
thing
It is.
I never defend the NFL, but after the Judge Robinson ruling,
There it
a
is.
lot of people were crushing the NFL for the penalty being too light, and I'm like, you can't crush the NFL. They're appealing. Why are you crushing the NFL right now? That's not fair. If you're in the camp of that penalty was too light. So the NFL, if nothing else, wants to come off as they're being tough as possible, even if they don't really care about how long the suspension is.
You're right. That's the optics.
Yeah.
They want to be able to appease the crowd that has been saying
Right.
he should never play again, ever. He should be put in jail. They want to tell that crowd, look, we had a hammer and we used it as much as we could.
Right.
And don't you guys think that the NFL is better than every other sport? There's nothing that can literally stop them. They're printing money.
Nothing. And that's why I don't know why
Printing.
they're so worried about
And
the
so,
PR.
and so when both sides are sitting there, one side over here, one side over here, don't you think one of the lawyers got together and said, listen, guys, we all make a boatload of money.
Yeah.
The only thing that can stop us is us starting to infight and people start having that laundry thrown out here. Now, here's what we need to do. That's the reason I was on DeMaurice Smith, but don't you think that somebody in the NFL talked to DeMaurice Smith and said, listen,
You would think, G, but sometimes with
Come
egos
on.
that big, that gets in the way, but you'd think it would.
Guys, we got some breaking news we got to get to, which leads us right into our next topic. The Browns have just released their Week 2 preseason depth chart.
All right.
And although all indications, Steve, let's take the tag board.
Are there any
you guys
centers
can't
on
read
it?
This. You can't really read this. It's too small. But
Oh, there it is.
Beautiful.
quarterback one is not Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah, that's
Deshaun
interesting.
Watson.
Well,
Yeah.
Didn't we
doesn't
just
matter.
hear earlier this week that Jacoby Brissett was going to take all the QB1
It's just a
snaps
depth
in
chart.
preseason moving
Those
into Week
things
2?
are.
we did, and he is, and that's the plan moving forward. But you guys, everybody here understands there is a possibility that Deshaun Watson starts against Carolina.
Whatever.
I mean, there is a route to that.
Are we sure?
So if
it goes
let's
to the
say
courts?
the decision is announced today.
Right.
Yeah.
The NFLPA files a suit in federal court and they ask for an injunction.
Right.
He plays.
Yeah.
He plays.
The league doesn't want that.
Of course, the league doesn't
Yeah.
want that.
So that.
But
yeah,
so
all
is
right.
it, are they playing games here? Is this is this part of this Cuban Missile Crisis that you guys are discussing?
Maybe.
Where
Guys,
they're pushing they're like checking their nukes closer to our coastline
Yeah,
right now
possibly.
by saying we have Deshaun as our starter right
So
now.
I would not get hung up on
I
depth
wouldn't
charts.
either.
Those are not important. They don't really matter.
You know what?
Yeah.
Imagine how we
Preseason
would have
depth
looked at
charts
that
do
if
not.
Deshaun Watson wasn't on it. If you're not going to put him one, where are you going to put him?
yeah.
to fourth.
Okay,
off the
okay.
chart?
Now
Yeah.
imagine the public's reaction if he's fourth.
Yep.
What are you going to say now? Whoa!
Do you
He
guys?
got Deshaun Watson.
do
and
you-
he was that bad.
Do you fully expect him to be suspended for a whole year? Because now he's at fourth. Obviously, he would be in the first two huddles, right? And here's my thing: does this really mean that Deshaun Watson is going to play the majority of this game?
Right.
I don't think I can't imagine Deshaun Watson plays.
Well, the Browns haven't
just
said
not gonna-
anything.
No, they haven't said anything, but what do you think they're going to do? We already know they're not going to play Jacoby Brissett, which, quite frankly, is a head scratcher. I'm scratching my head more over that.
You grown-ups explain that to me.
I'm confused.
I
I don't
demand that
understand.
you grown-ups explain
I don't
that
understand.
to me.
Well, Jim Donovan reported yesterday
Yes.
on Channel 3 that that Jacoby Brissett was not going to play in the second preseason game.
Right.
Say why.
And then, but nobody else was talking about that. But obviously, Jim's as connected as anybody.
It's
just Browns game,
Jim's
so he
got
knows.
it. Jim's
Yeah.
right.
Right. So then I texted.
Unless they change their mind.
Did Jim
Right.
say why, though?
No, but Jim also seemed as befuddled about this as we are.
So I texted my man Daryl Ryder, who I'll see
the
today
D-man,
at Browns
dangerous
camp.
D-man.
Dangerous Daryl. And I said, I heard Jim Donovan just said that Brissett's not playing. Have you heard the same thing? He goes, yes, he's not going to play. I said, what's going on? Are they because of Deshaun's situation? Are they scared of him getting hurt? And he said, I think so. Now, he doesn't know that for sure. He's just
Right.
speculating.
Well,
but
Bull, it's the only rational reason I can come up with.
But here's the thing, Jay. Like, I said this before. Joe Burrow's not going to play in the preseason because he had an appendectomy 2
That
weeks
makes
ago.
perfect sense.
And he's
Joe Burrow.
And he's Joe Burrow,
Yeah.
right? If you're a proven starting quarterback
And you know the
with
offense.
the team,
Yeah,
Who was in
then-
the Super
then
Bowl
it's
last
fine.
then fine.
Yeah.
But that's not the case with
Jacoby
Brissett.
Brissett's been a backup most of his career. Even when he's played, he's not played on this team with these
Right.
players. So I don't understand how you don't play. I'm not saying he has to play
Especially-
every snap.
Especially,
I'm
you're
not
right,
either,
he's
but
not-
I want to see him for a half of football against the
Right.
Eagles,
Yeah.
and then maybe a quarter in the last preseason game.
I don't like teams being scared of guys getting hurt.
I
You
don't
can't play
either.
that
I hate
way.
But
It's football,
you
G.
played it,
Especially
G.
with
Bush.
Jacoby
If you
Brissett.
go on the field and you're thinking, "Oh, I hope I don't get hurt," well, nobody does that.
No, you can't.
You
Listen, football, I try to tell people, football is a savage sport. It's just about when you're going to get injured. You can get injured just by the explosive nature of what you were doing in regular movements. You can plant, blow an Achilles, ankle, knee, all of that. Non-contact injuries are there. By the way, how many guys in the offseason injure themselves for the year working out? Just
time.
working out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Few guys every year.
Every year. So here's the thing. You're not going to be able to protect him, and you need to get him some reps. Now, think about this, man. This is why I always say this. Coaches really don't do themselves any favor by the way they go about their business. If Jacoby Brissett comes out here week 1 and gets smoked by Baker Mayfield, you are now, Kevin Stefanski, you're behind the 8 ball so tough because people going to say, it wasn't a Deshaun Watson problem. It was a Kevin Stefanski not getting his quarterback ready problem.
agree.
Right.
He
Gotta get him
didn't
in,
practice.
Steph.
He didn't do nothing. And then he's out here rusty. And now we lose because you're not doing the best thing to put people in position.
Yeah, you'd rather have him scared in the first quarter of a regular season
Yeah.
game than like scared trying to find his footing in the first quarter of a second preseason game.
Baker's played more games in the NFL, starts at least, than Jacoby Brissett. He's playing in
Yes.
preseason because he's on a new team and he needs to learn.
And it also doesn't matter if he gets hurt. I mean, the same thing here. It's not a huge drop off, I don't think, from Jacoby Brissett to Dobbs. I don't know if it would be, and even if it is.
I mean,
Well, in experience,
Or-
there
in
is.
experience
Sure.
it is. Yeah, but like Jacoby, it's a good point. Jacoby Brissett's not that good that like
He's not
we don't
Tom
even
Brady.
know what Josh Dobbs is. It's possible Josh Dobbs could be better than Jacoby Brissett.
Who knows?
I mean,
He's
based on
barely
the eye
played.
test,
He might be.
played fine
He
in
might
one.
be out of this world.
He might be entirely.
I'm going home, everybody.
good
I'll
line.
see you guys.
Hey, that's a hell of a contribution.
It just doesn't. It just. I think when you think about like when I'm going to play a player in the preseason, I think is there more to gain from playing him or lose? Like I think about Nick Chubb. There's more to lose playing Nick
Yes.
Chubb in the preseason than the game,
Yes.
right? Nick Chubb knows everything about the offense. Okay, maybe he hasn't taken a million snaps
And his
from
position
Brissett.
is so reactionary.
It's
too.
exactly.
And he's Nick
So
Chubb.
it's-
I don't need him out there.
instinct. No,
and
he
every
should-
carry he takes is
One off the
right.
list.
So
Yeah.
I don't need Nick Chubb to do
you're
anything.
a quarterback
But yes.
who is leading the offense, who
Absolutely.
has never done it with this group of guys. And by the way, Amari Cooper, I wouldn't be
That's what I was
surprised if
gonna
we
say
don't
that.
see Amari Cooper in the
Right.
preseason.
That's what I was going to
Right,
say.
Brissett's not gonna play.
When are Cooper and
We
Brissett
can't
going
put
to
our only
develop this
receiver out there.
chemistry
It's just
with
in
live
practice.
bullets
It's just
being flying
Yeah.
around?
Yeah.
It seems nuts. Let's
Now,
bring
I
in
think
the pro to get the real reaction to this.
Real quick, I think one thing Darryl also said to me is that they think they're going to get a lot from these joint practices with Philly because even though they're not games, they're a notch above a traditional practice.
Yeah.
We'll see what DeQuell thinks of that.
No, and I'm sure they will get something out of it.
Yeah.
He needs
Yeah.
both.
And you got
You need
first teamers
both.
on first teamers too, which is helpful, as opposed to first teamers and second teamers like in a scrimmage that you're doing
Right.
with your players.
I don't get it, but we're going to bring in DeQuell, and he's going to tell us what
He's
he
on
thinks about the whole
vacation,
thing.
DeQuell. Where is he?
Yeah, this big
Well, we'll
mystery
get to that in a
vacation.
sec. Before we bring in DeQuell, I do want to read a comment here from Noah 2023. Noah says, do any of you people actually think that this show's producer or host or commentators really read your comments you're making in here? They don't care what you people are saying. That's false. We do care.
I
We
don't.
read
We do
everyone.
care.
Anthony,
I don't want to
do
say
care.
I don't care. I just don't read them. I'm busy.
Well, we read them during the show.
I'm
and
happy
that's
that
they do.
That's
bring
great.
them back.
I'm
So-
happy to have you. Speaking
I stay in the comment section. Under G Bush. What y'all talking about, man? Y'all don't know what y'all talking about. You need to stop playing around with
He's
me.
very engaged on behalf of all of us.
Yeah.
He's doing it for all of us.
So thank
thank
you,
you for
Noah.
that.
We do care and we do appreciate it.
No,
And
we
now-
love you. Keep watching, brother. Keep
Yeah.
watching. Keep commenting.
And keep
Please.
telling us
Someone's
how
going to see it.
Tell
The
us what
show
we're
is
bad at.
reading
It's
the
fine.
comments. Anthony reads every comment.
Anthony and Earl are on.
Does
it.
he really read every
Yes.
comment?
Yes.
Steve Becker does
And
too.
now
Steve
Earl,
Becker
That's
sends
why
them
he
in.
can't sleep at night.
Bless their hearts.
I know. He has to take 2 Valium just to get to bed because of your
Nah,
comments.
Anthony's just depressed because he's in the friend zone with every girl in his life.
Oh,
Not for
Oh,
long,
wow.
dude.
Shots fired.
Poor
Hey,
Anthony.
no, there he
going
goes. Oh no, Anthony.
Oh, poor Anthony. I love Anthony.
Anthony's walked out.
Oh,
This is a
We
strike.
gotta get
Anthony's
Anthony out of the friend zone, man. Get
Yep.
him out. Gee,
Listen,
school him up, will you?
He's just circling the airport, waiting to see where to land. That's all he's doing right now.
I can sympathize because when I was Anthony's age, I was in the friend zone too with almost every girl I knew.
Right.
I was every girl's best friend. Oh, Adam, you're so cute. You're so nice. You're so sweet. Yeah, I'm not getting any action.
All right, well, DeQuell's officially laughing at this, so let's
Wow,
bring DeQuell
someone
down via the
called
Gridiron
you
Guys
sweet.
hotline.
Don't you
Nice.
sweet to
Are you
girls?
looking for a
Girls love
local
me.
hooper you
G.
can
Bush.
trust?
If I gave you 10 adjectives to describe Bull, are sweet and nice on the list?
No.
Hey,
I'm
Who are you
telling
hanging
you.
around with?
All
But
the
sweet
girls.
and nice are how you can describe the
go ahead.
Gridiron Guys. They're family owned since 2013. The Gridiron Guys have grown to become Northeast Ohio's top-rated roofers. They exemplify quality work practices and are a valued resource for homeowners and offer a 10-year workmanship warranty. Call 330-573-7967 today for a free estimate or roof inspection.
Gridiron guys. Speaking of gridiron guys, here's DeQuell Jackson. That's his house.
hey, no, the villain in the house.
What's up, fellas?
He came up.
You're on vacation.
Rich villain in the house.
What's going on?
We were told you were on vacation. That's
It's a
clearly your house.
staycation.
Yeah. I was in Aspen for a week, and I'm back
I
for a
told
week,
you
and
that's
then
what
I'm,
it was.
I said ass.
and then
I said
I'm heading back
didn't
out
I?
to Italy pretty soon, the end of the week, and I'll be gone for probably the first week of September.
I just assumed
Yeah.
you brought that chair with you everywhere you went and all that stuff behind you
background.
to set up in
That would be
Italy
good if
or
he
in
did that.
Aspen and stuff like
It's a
that.
very comfortable chair, by the way.
That's a
I
good
love
looking
the
chair.
turnaround. The turnaround was boss.
Yes.
So wait, where in Italy are you going?
So we're going to Sardinia for a week, and then Mykonos, Santorini, and then Paros, Greece for a friend's wedding.
What a
So-
life he's living.
Man, I'm
Yeah,
coming.
yeah.
Are you eating pizza every day in Italy? Like, are you gonna eat pizza every day?
I'm eating pasta every day.
Yeah.
Hey,
pasta.
You gotta have a red sauce every day in
Did
Italy.
you know there were different areas of
Every-
Italy? I had no idea.
Hey, DeQuell, man.
How about that?
Hey, man, let me find out you get some of that CTE money. That's that vacation
Oh,
money.
no. Listen, I'm doing well up here, brother.
I don't
I don't
remember
want
how
any
I
of that
got so
money.
rich.
I don't want any of that, buddy. I'm good.
No, DeQuell played at a very high level, was fairly compensated for his career, and was very smart with his money.
His
Yes.
wife was smart with his
Absolutely.
money.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's how you live a
And
comfortable
he
life.
did
Yeah,
not
that's
let
right.
his experience with the Browns traumatize him. He's still a healthy human being, too.
Well, you know
and that's
what?
good to see.
When he left the league, very few people know about this. Joe Thomas really got paid. When you leave the league, if you have more than 5 years with the Browns, you get what's called hazard pay.
Yes.
And it's a huge, because it's such a traumatic experience.
Yep.
So there's a huge settlement fund. It's in the billions.
I saw it.
So
I saw it hit.
why do you think Tim Couch is riding so high?
That's
Exactly.
true.
Tim got a huge check. DeQuell got a lot of money for it.
Yep.
It's
Thank
Browns
you.
hazard pay.
Thank you for your service.
I can't believe they got
I
me
definitely
on
need
that
to
one.
tap into that hazard pay a little bit more, I tell you that.
Hey, DeQuell, please talk us off the ledge. Why would Jacoby Brissett not play in preseason game number 2 when he's going to be the guy and there's only going to be one preseason game left and we don't know what's going to happen there? Is that a good move or a bad move to keep him on the sideline?
I think I'm along with you guys. I think it's terrible that he's not playing. I don't understand. This guy has it. This is the first year under within this system. The first year with Kevin Stefanski. The first year with Amari Cooper. All these different scenarios. You have Nick Harris go down. You have all these different variables thrown at you. He should be playing he should be getting the majority of the snaps, game reps, not just practice, but game reps. Because anyone who's ever played this game understands practice and having joint practices are a little bit different from a competition standpoint, but more importantly, game reps, game shape, the crowd noise, the all these different variables you can't simulate during practice. This guy needs to be playing, so I can't talk you off the cliff because to me, it doesn't make any sense, obviously knowing that Deshaun Watson, you want to get him some game reps, you want to get his feet underneath him, but you're trying to win football games. What about the rest of the guys on the team that wants to see the quarterback play in live action to see, you know what, if we have a guy that can get us through the first part of the season or the second part of the season, pending when Deshaun Watson will be able to play, if he's able to play. So I don't understand this move at all. Practice reps are one thing, but he needs game reps. Yeah. I don't understand this from Kevin Stefanski, and I think I heard G say this earlier. If things go south with Jacoby Brissett early on, he's going to take the bulk of the blame because they're going to say he didn't get him prepared to play. 100%. So I don't understand this logic of not playing this guy. I really don't.
You talked me off the cliff. The thing is, I didn't get off it. I jumped.
Yeah, you jumped.
It's scary.
Do you think, like, if you're Jacoby Brissett, like, he's not a rookie, he's been in the league a while, like, if you're him, do you go to Kevin Stefanski and say, Coach, I need the reps here? Like, do you think he's done that and Stefanski shot him down, or do you think he's not the type of guy that would do that?
No, I don't think he's the type of guy that would do that because it throws off. I guess they have a plan, right? They want to make sure all the guys are healthy for the start of the season. That's my only logical explanation for Jacoby Brissett not being in the game, taking game reps. So I don't think Jacoby Brissett would do that. He wouldn't want to shake things up and complicate things more than what it is right now. But again, he's not Peyton Manning. He's not Andrew Luck. He's not one of these guys that you're gonna get an ultimate amount of production when he's on the field. So every rep counts. And I just don't understand this, that he's not getting any game reps. He should be. For me, I would want to see him manage the second unit to see, you know what, can he manage the second unit and can he be productive against the opposing team's second unit to know, you know what, when I put him in with the ones, he can operate this offense efficiently and guys are confident that he can get him the ball.
You know, DeQuell, I look at not only there, I look on the defensive side of football. Do you believe there's a difference between defensive players not playing and offensive players not playing? A quarterback is different. I look at Anthony Walker, Denzel Ward, Greg Newsome. Those guys haven't been out there. John Johnson hasn't played. Myles Garrett. Do you think there's a difference between defensive players and offensive players when it comes to reps and needing to be out there?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, G. I think for the offense, the timing is everything. Building rapport, understanding how guys are going to operate when in live action. I played with a lot of guys who were great practice players, but when that whistle blows and you put that helmet on and you add that crowd noise and the element of being tired, things can go sour and south very quickly. So you need to understand how guys operate from a game standpoint. Now, offensively, I think quarterback has to play. Unless you're Tom Brady, unless you establish yourself of no one being able to confuse you from a defensive standpoint. Defensively, me personally, I needed to play. I needed to feel that, the weights that I lifted that offseason, the conditioning the extra conditioning I had done in the offseason, in the spring and training camp, to know if I'm doing what I'm doing is right. Can I get off blocks a little bit better? So you really have to, for these guys who aren't playing defensively, I think it's a lot easier because you're not looking at timing. You're more in a reactive, standpoint. But again, for me personally, man, whether it was 10 or 15 or 20 reps, I would go to my coach and tell him, hey, man, I need at least 15 to 20 snaps each preseason. I can't have less than that because from a confidence standpoint, I don't know if what I'm doing differently this year is working. So again, obviously, veteran, the more you've played, the more experience you've had, obviously you deal with those things a lot easier. But this unit, if I'm Kevin Stefanski, I'm playing a lot more of my starters now than I ever have before because of the Deshaun Watson situation and because of Jacoby Brissett. Will he be the guy? You want to see what your team will look like in live action, no matter who the competition is. Can you move the ball efficiently? Can you operate the offense efficiently? Can you get down on third down defensively? Can you get after the passer? Are we all working in unison? All these things need to be answered. And the way Kevin Stefanski and this group are dealing with this, they're putting a lot of trust in the practices and these joint practices that's going to be coming up pretty soon, which is out of my comfort zone, if you ask me.
DeQuell, I don't know if you were watching earlier, but we here at the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show just broke some incredible Browns news by releasing to everyone their second preseason game depth chart, which, as we all know, is about as reliable as a horoscope and just as legitimate. But it does have Deshaun Watson listed as the #1 quarterback. And we are trying to figure out what they're trying to message through that or what that means. Why would he still be listed as #1? And do you think they're trying to say anything?
Yeah, I think, you look at his first performance, the first rollout pass, the guy was wide open, Schwartz sailed it over his head. And they're probably trying to build his confidence. Listen, for the last 20 months, the guy's life has been under scrutiny every day. He can't eat in private. He can't do anything in private without someone writing a story or talking about him in, daily news cycles. So maybe this is a way to gain his confidence. Listen, he had a moment during that preseason game where he eluded pressure. He hit Schwartz 2 yards before the first down. It would have been a great play for Schwartz to make, would have been a great confidence builder for Deshaun Watson. It didn't happen. So maybe that's a tool. They're trying to play this psychology game of, hey, listen, we want you to get in. We want to list you as quarterback 1. We want to have you make some good plays down the field so you can have some confidence because we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if he's going to trot out the first game of the season or he's going to miss the whole season. We don't know. So Stefanski is in a conundrum here in terms of getting 2 guys ready. But one guy for sure you're going to have is Jacoby Brissett. And you need to get him ready more than anything. So your guess is better than mine. But, this is a really tough issue that Kevin Stefanski has to maneuver daily and weekly. And we're just playing this waiting game to see what quarterback will Deshaun Watson be available at any point throughout the season.
DeQuell, I want to talk about the center position. You mentioned before Nick Harris getting hurt. I didn't like when the Browns cut J.C. Tretter. I understand you always got to worry about the salary cap. I've heard some people say, Tretter's not as good anymore. I don't know. The eye test tells me he's good, and the Pro Football Focus grade tells me J.C. Tretter's good. So between those two, I think he's still, at worst, a top 10 center in the league. But okay, they want to go with a young guy, Harris, fine. But now he tears up his knee. He's out for the season. I don't know why they wouldn't call Tretter. Now, Bitonio, who, as you know, never says anything controversial, right? It never. Right. And yet he said, hey, I think he's not on a team because he's the player's rep and he ticked off the owners, right? Yeah. 1, what did you think of those comments? And 2, do you think it's imperative for the Browns to bring him back?
Yeah, I think there's some truth to those comments. The guy holds, the team accountable in terms of what they can and cannot do within the building. I remember playing with a guy named, he was a player, Scott Fajita. And it was during the time where we had a head coach that were really flirting between what he could and could not do. And Scott kept everyone in that locker room, on pins and needles in terms of, hey, I'm a union rep. You're not going to disrespect me. And I'm going to hold you guys accountable. This is the do's and don'ts. And, yeah, I think it has something to do with it. But right now, given the situation, not knowing who's going to be your quarterback, if you're the GM here, Andrew Berry. Yeah. Andrew Berry, you need to be on the phone talking to Trotter. You need to kick those tires for sure. Anyone who's familiar with this system, anyone who's played in this position before, and that will be the #1 guy I'm calling right now to see, where he is from a conditioning standpoint. He's not on the team. Does he still want to play? Is this a place that he can see himself playing? You're making him an offer that he can't refuse because the center position is a very valuable position, knowing that we don't know who's going to play on the center, and he's the orchestrator of the protection. So listen, this isn't rocket science here. This isn't chess we're playing. This is an easy game we're playing. And you get a guy that understands the system, who's been here before, and a guy that you can rely on.
DeQuell, every year the media and the fans look at the roster, they know what they have, and they circle the strong points. Hey, running back, defensive back, this team is fantastic. And then they also look at the areas of weakness. And the two areas that really jump out, obviously center now because of the injuries, and you didn't even mention Bull yesterday, their rookie, the seventh-round pick, Dawson Deaton, tore his ACL. So there's another person.
Who knows if he was going to make the team? But
Who knows? But it's another person that could play the position without him.
I had just bought his jersey, too.
Yeah, I had two. You know, the fact of the matter is,
they won't take it back.
You're even more thin. So,
Sure.
DeQuell, here's where I'm going with this. So often, when the media is saying before a season, I don't know what this team is thinking at this position, but they're really super thin. Oftentimes that pans out. You know, the guys that cover the sport for a living, they understand, they know who's who, they know what they have. And the one area of weakness is wide receiver. Everybody's looking at this wide receiver room saying, wait a minute, who's going to catch the balls? Anthony Schwartz has had a real problem catching footballs. By the way, you had one job. And sometimes I look at Donovan Peoples-Jones and I wonder how he's even still on this roster. I don't get it. So that is another position that, quite frankly, I think by week 3 or week 4, the big narrative could be, well, what did we expect? We knew in training camp we had no wide receivers.
Right.
What do you do to address that this late in the game? I know there's a couple of names that are still out there, but what are they waiting on? Why have they done nothing to beef up that position?
Man, I wish I had a crystal ball because you said all the right points. Because Anthony Schwartz, oh my gosh, the ball hit him right in his chest. It's just something. I don't know if he has bad eyes or what. Go get your eyes checked. I don't know what's going on with this guy. And you're right, the receiver position. I don't care who you have at quarterback. If you don't have a guy that's a surefire on the outside, aside from Amari Cooper, you can't run the ball for 70 snaps and expect to win football games, and not in the AFC, you're not going to be able to do it. So they have for a team that was projected with Deshaun Watson to be a Super Bowl contender, championship contender, to be one of the top teams in the AFC. Now look at how things have unfolded. Now that, you like you mentioned, the center position, which is a very important position, that's questionable. Receivers, you thought these guys will make huge leaps. Again, it's only been one preseason game, so I don't want to pile up on them too much, but you are who you are based on that tape when you turn it on. And Anthony Schwartz isn't getting it done. Donovan Peoples-Jones, where are you? And I'm looking for David Bell, the rookie. I watched the game and I didn't see much. I don't know what's going on there, but the Browns, for a team that was projected to make some noise in the postseason, boy, they scratching their head right now because they have a lot of holes to fill quickly, because this season's going to be here before you know it.
I need some Pepto-Bismol.
Jay mentioned there's still a few receivers out there. We've talked a lot about Will Fuller, but one guy who's still out there, he's a teammate of yours, and that's T.Y. Hilton. What do you think he was such a great player. He's no longer a great player. Does he still have enough left in the tank to help the Browns? And do you think he'd play anywhere besides Indy? Because he's played there for his entire career.
Yeah, he's definitely married to the Indianapolis Colts, and honestly, I don't see him playing outside. Obviously, if the money's right, the situation's right, he's obviously going to look at a quarterback because he's played with Andrew Luck for the majority of his career, which he was able to make a name off of. So he's definitely going to look at who's throwing him the football, and he's actually played with Jacoby Brissett at one point or another. So listen, it's all going to boil down to if he wants to play. The guy's made a ton of money in Indianapolis. He's a fixture there. He is a name that I didn't even think about until you just said that, but he's definitely a guy who can still take the top off of defense. He can still run. Now, the intermediate routes, that's not his strong suit. He's a guy that's going to, deep overs. The guy has really sure hands. He's definitely a guy that, if the Browns were to bring him in, you probably got to pay him a little bit more than league minimum. And I don't think he's at the point of his career where he's going to take anything less than whatever he was making in Indy. So, but they definitely have to kick the tires on this situation, because if guys don't start to prove themselves soon, you're going to have to make a splash. And again, they gave up a lot to get Deshaun Watson, so they don't have a lot to offer without handicapping themselves for the future. So this is going to be Andrew Berry really put himself in a tough position in that front office moving forward of how to at least trot out a competitive football team this year.
This is a homage to the Baker Bros, but I got to be consistent on it. I gotta be consistent on that. Last year, at the end of the year, when Baker was finishing, there was a laundry list of things we said we had to do because Baker Mayfield wasn't the guy, right? So the first thing we had was receivers. Now, if we didn't get Deshaun Watson, everybody said we got to go after a number one receiver in the draft and possibly get another one. All of a sudden, that's changed. We also talked about, hey, we need to upgrade at certain positions, and we need to be aggressive because this team has 2 years, right? We right in the middle. We can't waste nobody's time. Now, we down a center, we down receivers, defensive tackle is you got some new young guys in there. All of a sudden, there doesn't seem to be that level of urgency. My thing is for people that saw Baker Mayfield play, and there was a lot of things we said with Baker. Now, all of a sudden, it seemed like they switching course a little bit because that sense of urgency for me hasn't been there, right? You signed David Njoku, that's cool. But at the end of the day,
they did get Amari Cooper.
I mean, but
you lost Jarvis Landry.
But you lost Jarvis Landry.
But Amari Cooper's better than Jarvis Landry.
Slightly.
Yeah, but so you traded one name receiver for another.
And so
that's not upgrading the room.
I think it is. I think
if Jarvis Landry was still on this team, I'd feel a whole hell of a lot
last season
better.
you were still going into the season with Odell Beckham Jr. and Jarvis Landry, as far as you knew. So we didn't know what Odell was going to be for us. So you felt
this
more
year
comfortable.
both are gone and we got Amari Cooper. That's not an upgrade.
That's right. And so my thing is, I don't think. Do you feel that there's a level of urgency right now? It seemed like the Deshaun Watson move got made, but they don't understand when you made that move. You have to be aggressive everywhere. You can't just be aggressive with that. You got to maximize it, even if he's not playing. I just don't see that level of urgency, especially with a downgrade at quarterback. How are you winning games?
Listen, I would have never. Listen, I've said this before. I think Jay and I were on the same page with this many weeks ago. But I wouldn't have traded away Baker Mayfield so early. I was one of those people that thought, you know what? He's under contract. He may be disgruntled. You may not like his situation, but you make a move based on Deshaun Watson availability. And I tell you what, he would have been a lot better option right now than what the situation is moving forward. Yeah, it would have been dicey for him to be in the same, room as Deshaun Watson. But you know what? This is a big boy league. Go earn your stripes, go earn your pay, show everyone why they should keep you. So, listen, I've said that. I haven't said it recently, but I would have played that card as long as I could have. And you know what? Now they're in the conundrum where, man, this doesn't look good at all. But we haven't seen the starters play. We had a lot of guys that didn't play. Again, defensively, there was a lot of guys who stood out to me. What's the cornerback? Emerson from Mississippi State.
The pick
I
six.
thought, listen, the pick six. He's another guy, big, tall corner who's going to help this team and maybe pick up the slack in other areas. So to answer your question, G, I mean, I think they're playing a waiting game. They're trying to see. I think the domino effect is Deshaun Watson. How aggressively are you going to play and grab guys based on his availability? And right now, they made a huge splash early on. You don't want to keep digging that hole deeper and deeper that you can't come out of it because in the end, you won't have a job if this thing completely blows up. So I think they're playing the waiting game. There's going to be unfortunately, there's going to be a ton of injuries in the next few weeks and a lot of cuts in the next few, unexpected cuts in the next few weeks. And possibly it could be someone that you can plug in and play. That's a veteran that help this football team.
That's why this feels so punitive. I
think
hate
you guys
to say
are
it's a conspiracy
overstating
theory, but the NFL, in dragging this out, really has slapped handcuffs on Andrew Berry.
Well,
he can't go out and do anything. He doesn't know who he has.
It's all the more reason to think that they are probably still trying to negotiate something. Like they wouldn't, by dragging this out, that's probably them behind the scenes trying to find some place in the middle that's acceptable to both parties. That's because you're right. Otherwise,
it's different decisions
negligence.
Based on whether Watson's out for the year or just out for a certain amount of games.
Yeah, and the longer we go into the preseason where we don't know.
And they're both telling that to each other probably behind the scenes.
Sure.
But they're both telling that to each other. It's not like the NFL is withholding it.
I think we're overstating the problems at wide receiver. First of all,
wow.
I get it in the division. The Bengals have a great wide receiving core. The Browns, I think, are third I don't think they're that far behind Pittsburgh. They're better than Baltimore at wide receiver.
Bull, it's a passing league.
I
You're
understand
the first to admit that.
But like,
you can't be weak
who's
at
Aaron
that
Rodgers'
position.
best receiver right now?
I mean,
Well, look, let's talk about the Packers another day. I agree with you. I think they're
I'm
going to
just
have a
saying,
huge
Amari
drop-off.
Cooper is a top 15 receiver in the NFL.
And
It's
outside
one
of
them.
that, and after that, you have
But
nothing.
okay, I mean, there's not that many teams that have a second great wide receiver. I mean, I would like them to have it. I don't disagree with you. And I do think there are question marks at the rest of the receiver spot. But I just think if you have a good enough quarterback, eventually with Watson, he's going to make guys better.
But I think what's
that's part of the
frustrating
thing.
people is it's just there, and we have the cap space, so just do it.
I know.
That's really what it is. That's what.
But at this point, I don't
They're
know
not falling out of trees either.
I don't know that any of the guys still available in free agency are that much better than the guys they've got at this point. They're bigger names, but
DeQuell, let me ask you this question, and it's from a defensive guy. If you were lined up against the Cleveland Browns, besides the running game, are you scared of anything they like? You simply just gonna roll your coverage to Amari Cooper, and I don't even think Bell.
well, who are you scared of on Pittsburgh?
But they got come on.
Chase Claypool's just a guy.
No.
Deontay Johnson's
That
real
Johnson's
good.
scary.
I'd take your
Johnson's
receivers
scary.
over ours without even thinking.
Pickens, Deontay Johnson, and Claypool.
Pickens a rookie. He hasn't done anything yet. We don't know what he is.
These guys are. I've seen Chase Claypool make catches.
Nobody's scared of Chase Claypool.
I have not seen Anthony Schwartz catch a football under 5 yards.
I hear you, but let's not get crazy about Chase Claypool. He's a decent
Would you
receiver.
take the Steelers receivers over the
I
Browns?
would, but I don't think it's a huge gap because I think Amari Cooper's as good as Deontay Johnson.
Tell me
Yeah,
what
you put a lot
tell
of
me what you
pressure
would
on
do
Amari
against the Browns, DeQuell.
DeQuell, who
Yeah,
scares
it
you?
wouldn't scare me at all because you're going to load the box and you're going to roll everything,
That's it.
to Amari Cooper. And we said this when the Amari Cooper signing happened. I remember talking about it. He's a great receiver to have in addition to, but he's not your stud receiver that's going to be able to, coverage is rolled to him. He's not that guy that's going to be explosive and make explosive plays week in and week out. Now, is he a surefire or steady hands or route runner and all these different things? Absolutely. Frighten you from a receiving core standpoint. And until they show teams they can, other guys can step up and you have to play softer coverage. You're going to load the box for the run, and you're going to roll everything to Amari Cooper. And if there's a lot of weight putting on Amari Cooper this year, as it stands right now, if these other guys don't show up, is he up for the task? You and I will all probably agree. We hope so, but he hasn't shown that in years past. And maybe this is a new year. Maybe he turns a page, but there's going to be an enormous amount of pressure on him to get things done, and it's going to take those other guys to step up.
Yeah,
And Schwartz is one of those guys.
for his
They have
career.
to step up.
I do feel like we're all sort of glossing over the fact that we are also graced with having one of the highest paid tight ends in the NFL to throw to as well.
And by the way, I don't care how many
But
guys.
not
you put-
highest productive.
I don't
I
care
didn't say
how
that.
many guys you put in the box. They've been putting a million guys in the box since Nick Chubb's been here. You ain't stopping Nick Chubb no matter how many
But you
guys.
also
got.
aren't winning if that's all you can do.
Of course, I agree with you. Yes,
So-
but by the way, we're ignoring the fact that Kareem Hunt is a major weapon in the passing game.
I'd like to see it here.
How about all the people saying? How about all the
Used to
people?
be.
How about all the people
Used to
saying
be.
like when Kareem Hunt tried to be like, I want a contract. I loved everybody who was just like, fine, get out of here, Kareem Hunt. Like we can just
Right.
throw this talent away.
I know.
Because we got Dearness Johnson showed up last year and everybody's
one
excited
game.
about this rookie. But we are just such jerks as fans.
Right.
Where we're just like, fine, walk, Kareem Hunt, you incredible weapon
You ungrateful
who's
son
under
of a-
contract. I just hate us.
Nick Nuggets,
sometimes.
what do you got?
DeQuell, we're talking about running backs, so I got to ask you this question. Yesterday on the show, G. Bush said that Nick Chubb was better than Emmitt Smith. And I want to
Wait.
throw that take into your life, yes. It wasn't me. This
Wait,
is not a
what?
Mike Lucas take.
Well, let's not. That's overstating it. I think what he said was.
Own it, G. Bush.
What I said was
Defend yourself, G.
what I said was when you look at pound for pound, you look at skill set for skill set. When you look at what he's able to do on the football
And
field,
who Emmett had playing
and who,
with him.
and who Emmitt Smith had playing with him. You had Eric Williams. You had
Hall of
Nate
Famers
Newton,
across
Hall of
the board.
Famer. He had Hall of Fame caliber. He even had
And he's a
fullbacks.
Hall of Famer, deservedly
And
so.
Emmitt
Sure.
Smith is,
Yeah.
but I said respectfully, when you say respectfully, the disrespect's coming.
Mm-hmm.
Respectfully,
Right.
if you name the top 10 running backs, you'd be hard pressed for a real dude to say, well, I got Emmitt Smith in my top 10.
All time.
All time.
I
It's
think
hard.
a lot of people would.
It's hard. I can give you 5 right now. Yeah. If you say Gale Sayers, you say Jim Brown, you say Tony Dorsett, you say O.J. Simpson, Walter Payton, that's already at 5.
You looked up Barry Sanders.
Barry Sanders is 6.
No, you're just rattling them
I'm
off.
just rattling. I ain't even thinking about it.
And the point is, I think the apples-to-apples stat when it comes to running backs is yards per carry. And by that metric, there's only 2 guys that's ever carried the rock that have done it better per carry.
Now, to be fair, some of those guys
Nick Chubb.
late in their careers had their numbers drop because they weren't as good.
That's
and Nick
fine.
Chubb hasn't reached that point.
No, DeQuell, how do you feel about that?
Yeah.
I mean, man, that's tough. I love Nick Chubb. Now, if he can do this over a course of, the duration of his career, and he can win a Super Bowl, and the Browns go on to be who we think they could be in the near future, I think that's a legitimate argument. But right now, as it stands, he's projected to be really, really good and potential Hall of Famer. But it's hard for me to put him over. I can see the comparison, but it's hard for me to put him over Emmitt Smith. I know that's not what you're saying, putting him over Emmitt Smith right now, but.
Yeah.
Here's a fair way of saying
comparison.
If you could do this, and you can't, but if you could plug Nick Chubb in his prime into an offense that include Troy Aikman, Michael Irvin, Larry Allen on the line,
great offensive line,
Novacek, a great tight end, great running back. Like, my God.
Yeah. And plus, you got to look at the errors. The errors are different. They throw the ball.
Game.
They throw the ball a lot more. There's more carries back then. But
that's a great argument.
I think the bottom line is, if you're making an all-time list of running backs right now, Emmitt Smith's got to be ahead of Nick Chubb, no doubt.
Yes,
sure.
But I think it's possible that when it's all said and done, Nick Chubb could be ahead of Emmitt Smith, depending. He's capable of being better.
To DeQuell's point, he better win at least 1 Super Bowl.
Yeah. And he's got to. He's got to. Well, fair. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm taking Barry Sanders every day over Emmitt Smith.
Yeah,
and he never won anything. It wasn't his fault. A running back can't control that.
No, I know.
You
know how legacy voters are.
Yeah, I hear you.
They want to see hardware for individual and team.
I'd take Emmitt Smith over any back I've seen play ever, including Walter Payton.
Emmitt Smith over anybody?
Anybody I've seen play.
Over Barry Sanders?
Sorry, Barry Sanders.
Okay, Barry Sanders.
Yes.
How about you, DeQuell? You taking Barry Sanders or you taking somebody else?
Absolutely. The only person I would probably even think about taking over Barry Sanders is maybe OJ or
Jim Brown was pretty good.
Yeah,
Jim
he's
Brown,
before time though.
It's like, you're right. But Barry is hard it's hard for you to choose anyone over Barry. Barry was just special, and he was on a team that didn't win, and that was an era where they ran the football every snap. It wasn't a throwing league, and the guy wasn't the biggest guy.
He had no talent around him. He had what's his name? Herman Moore was a pretty good receiver he had. Right? But they never had a good quarterback, really. That guy he was just a freak. Like, I don't know. I've never seen anything like the way he moved.
And there was gas left in his tank when he walked away.
Remember him in college? Yeah. Like in college, he was putting up quarterback numbers in college.
And then the same thing happened on the same team with Calvin Johnson, where another just all-timer like that just shows up and wastes a wonderful career on this miserable team.
I will say this. I think that people are talking about Nick Chubb and maybe you don't have enough to pay him. Nick Chubb is definitely one of the guys that fits the mold of one day he wakes up and says, I don't want to play no more, and he's just done.
Yeah.
And we would be devastated. Like, what you mean?
Like Barry Sanders.
Like, what you talking about? You got 5 more years, dog. He's like, nah, just
and then we'll never see him again. Ever
talk again.
No, he's not going to go on TV.
He ain't doing the media tour. There's none of that for Nick Chubb.
To quote the Indians, now Guardians owner, Dolan, enjoy him while you have him.
Yeah, right.
No, he's going into the woods, and we'll never see him again.
My work here is done.
DeQuell's trying to chime in.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah, my bad.
I was
Speaking of Barry Sanders, so I had the privilege of a guy named Kevin Glover, who was his center for 8 years. He actually is a University of Maryland graduate, and we become really good friends over the years. And he would tell me stories about Barry and just how soft-spoken he was, but again, the fraternity, I can't really talk about it on camera, but the guys, they always get together once a year, and Barry's always there. And just the camaraderie between the offensive lineman and Barry, he still takes care of those guys even to this day. And it's really unique stories that he's told me over the past, and I've had the opportunity to kind of listen to him. And I feel like I know Barry, even though I've never met him. A ton of great stories from Kevin Glover, who played ton.
He was. I have one funny Barry Sanders story. And when you go to the Super Bowl, and as media, you're doing one interview after another with Hall of Famers, and they're just bringing them through, and it's just one for the entire 2-hour show. And one year Barry Sanders was in, and he was pitching MasterCard, and he had a shirt on with the logo, and that's the Super Bowl really is a pitchman's dream because they're all making money and they're selling stuff. So we're on the set, and it's always the payoff question is the last one. You know, you talk about the Super Bowl matchup and his career and everything else, and they say, "Hey, Barry, what are you doing here at Super Bowl?" And that's when he's supposed to deliver his spiel, and he's like, "Well, you know, I'm here on behalf of Visa." And, so and I literally froze.
Oh my God.
I froze in my seat because I'm looking at a shirt that says MasterCard.
Oh.
And I'm thinking,
Not on TV.
And
I know,
listen,
right?
I'm trying desperately to get him out of it, but he knows what the spiel is, and he's going to deliver it.
Oh my
And
God.
he's raving about Visa.
And he's raving about Visa and all their services, and we go to commercial, and and we're on site too, so there's a lot of people around.
Oh my God.
And the PR woman with MasterCard came running over, and she grabs him, and she's like, "Barry, we're MasterCard."
Oh, God.
And you could just see the life drain out of Barry's
that's
face.
hard. That's
I
not
saw
his
him
thing,
later that week at another Super Bowl event, and I felt the need to apologize to him. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I just basically was saying, "Barry, I am so sorry for what happened."
For what
He's
you
like,
did.
"Hey man, it's my fault."
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
said, hopefully it didn't hit you too hard. And I can't remember what the dollar amount was. I think they docked him $50,000 for whatever they were paying. It was a big number.
Hey, by the way, DeQuell, 2 running backs none of us even mentioned, which is absurd. Marshall Faulk and Adrian Peterson.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh shoot.
The list is long.
Yeah.
I mean,
The list is
those are
long.
2 the all-time greats right there. We didn't even mention
The
those.
list is long. And now,
ESPN, real quick, ESPN released their list of GOATs last week. And
Yeah.
we had it on our prelim rundown twice. We haven't done it yet. DeQuell, you want to do it on Friday with us? Go over
Sure.
who ESPN
Yeah.
picked the GOATs.
Yeah.
We'll do that Friday with DeQuell. It's a little
Let's do it.
cool activity. And before we let DeQuell go, I do want to see, let's pull up the tag board. DeQuell, we got this picture from your Instagram. Where'd you go biking in Aspen?
That's
Give us the
DeQuell?
backstory here.
Right.
Dude.
Also, what's up with the
I'm
body
living
armor?
DeQuell, what are you in the
listen.
CIA now? Are you hanging out with Secret Agent Peyton Hillis? I mean, what are you doing there?
Come on,
Nothing Secret Service wise, but I'm trying to live my best life, man.
You
now
are.
that this is my 5th year being retired, so I've always wanted to do mountain biking. So I'm in Aspen Mountains. Literally, you need all the body armor because the mountain you're like 11,000 feet high, and it's separated through, like, if you go skiing, it's green slopes, blue slopes, and black slopes. So I chose the green, and I tell you, the paths are probably about 3 feet wide, and it is scary, and it is an adrenaline rush. So yes, they asked me if I wanted to wear the helmet, the shoulder pads, the knee pads, everything. I was like, absolutely yes, because I need to come home. But it was a great time.
I need to come home.
Now, DeQuell, I think they, brother to brother, I think they set you up a little bit. Now, we kind of dark. You got the whole black cat suit on.
Yeah.
You be out there
I look like Black
dehydrated.
Panther.
Like, am I cramping? Yes. You have all black on next to the sun. Like, I commend you, my brother.
In one of the richest, whitest towns in America.
That's the way
Dude,
you do
I
it.
rock
go
climbed.
wrong?
I did everything, G. Bush.
Hey,
Zip
tell me-
line.
hey.
I did some rafting. I did it all, man. I did it all.
What I
It's
love
actually
about
fun.
DeQuell is you hear about all these things like skeet shooting and mountain biking. And
He's
you're
doing
like,
it all.
Yeah, that stuff I'll never do.
Yeah.
But DeQuell's like got a list somewhere.
Yeah.
And he's just checking them all off.
Yeah.
What's next? What's your next big adventure?
Skydiving?
So probably next summer, I'll probably do paragliding. I thought about doing it. So here's the thing. I'm afraid of heights. It's not my, I'm afraid of heights, but I do it because it's a thrill. And that's probably the next thing on the bucket list I want to do, and dive with cage dive with great whites. But that'll be sometime down the road.
Hey, so would
yeah,
you
man,
jump out of an
you know-
airplane? Would you parachute jump?
Oh yeah, I would.
Why
I'm
is
terrified.
Why is Code Red Mountain Dew not sponsoring this and you?
I know,
They
it's a
should
good
be.
point.
Code Red Mountain Dew, sponsor him.
Shout out to you breaking the mold, man.
Yeah, really.
Stereotypes are not true. It's not very often you find a black man talk about he about to get in a cage with great white sharks. That's not
Yeah, man.
Shout out to you,
you
my
know
brother,
what?
man.
I
You
didn't know
doing
that
it
was
big.
only a white thing. I was
Yeah.
aware of that.
I know a lot of white guys that
I'm
aren't doing that either.
terrified of doing it. And when I do something, when I conquer a fear, I just feel that much more empowered, man. It's like, I got to find an adrenaline rush somehow now that I can't tackle anyone. So my wife thinks it's okay. Our insurance is up to date. She always reminds me.
Roundstone.
You know what?
All good to
Will
go.
Jackson really is the most interesting man in the
He
world.
is.
Yes, he is.
Well, have you been to Mount Rainier?
I have not.
I just went, and unlike you, I wasn't mountain biking or anything. I just drove up as
You
high
didn't
as I
throw
could.
yourself down
And
the mountain?
I did some walking. But, dude, I mean, you love all this nature and all. You got to get there,
Yeah.
man. It's amazing.
Okay, I got to check it out.
Incredible.
I'm into it.
Yeah.
I'm definitely into it.
He'll go next week now.
We love to travel to eat and do all that stuff, but now I'm into the outdoorsy stuff. Now that I can bring my son, we both what do we call it? Climb. We climb rocks or mountain
rock
climbing.
climbing.
Rock climbing?
Rock climbing. Oh, I was terrible. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Look at that.
I was terrible.
You know, the people that are good at it are like McNuggets. They're like,
No,
Yeah, it's
wait,
definitely
wait,
has to be a
wait,
weight
wait,
limit.
let me
no,
chime in.
the light guys kill it.
Let me try. I went on a
Yeah.
a rock climbing date the other day, and I got embarrassed. This
No,
girl
you-
showed me up so bad.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
A
It
rock.
was so
No,
hard.
Well, we want to
Listen,
get back
my wife
to rock
recruited
climbing
me
date.
rock climbing with an 8-year-old girl. She was on a harder course than I was, and she was far ahead of me. And
Yeah,
I could,
the lighter you are, the easier it is.
Yeah.
And I got to a point where I was like, my hands are killing me. My core is not strong enough. This is not going to happen today.
You're
And
trying to
I
lift
did
a
it
lot
one
more
time
up
and
a
I was
mountain.
done.
For us big people like me and DeQuell,
Yeah,
we
right.
carry so much body mass around.
For you
It's
beef
tough
guys.
for us to get up the mountain.
No, those kids are like lemurs. They can skitter right
Mike's
up there.
date was with an 80-year-old girl, by the way. It's really interesting. He likes to date older.
Hey, DeQuell, thanks for coming on. Have a great time in Italy, all right? Send us a postcard.
All right.
Always.
Cheers,
Friday.
guys.
Friday.
This is water,
See you
actually.
Friday.
This is
Oh, it's
water.
back Friday.
This is
Okay,
Tuesday.
good.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
See you, DeQuell.
Bottoms up, my friend.
Take care, guys.
Salute.
DeQuell Jackson. We'll see him Friday before he goes to Italy.
He
So,
is. He's coming
okay.
back one more time before Friday. We will do the ESPN GOAT list, break down where they got it right, where they got it wrong.
Okay.
Because a Brown was named a GOAT, and a Cleveland native was named the second GOAT. So we'll tease for
Okay.
Friday.
Didn't they do the GOAT like oh, no, that was somebody else did like a Mount Rushmore of every city's players, like top 4 players.
Yeah,
in history.
I saw that once,
That might have been
too.
Bleacher or
I
something,
I
I
don't
don't
remember
know.
if ESPN was doing
That
that
wasn't.
or not.
That's not
but-
the article we're going to do Friday.
Okay.
We're going to do
Yeah.
something a little different on Friday. Before we move on to other stuff, G. Bush, we kind of got into it with DeQuell, but Anthony Schwartz, man, I know you have some tough feelings about the Browns' second-year receiver, and the floor is now yours, my friend.
I just don't. No, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I like Anthony Schwartz. I like what he can bring to the table. I like the fact that he has speed, and I know people like, hey, let's get this speed thing, go vertical and go deep, and I get it. But even when you go back and look at Anthony Schwartz and you look at what he did in Auburn, he was not like and I feel even bad about saying this, he's like a third-round pick. Like, in the thought process, that third-round picks are supposed to be where you're banking on these guys to turn into something special or a number 1 receiver. I think that's foolhardy. Even when he was at Auburn, he never was a guy that was getting off press coverage. He was never a guy that moved around and he was running the whole route tree. He was getting reverses. His biggest plays are off reverses. And so when Kevin Stefanski is inserting this guy into the playbook, I'm just like, well, why are you asking him to run that route? Like, he only runs one route, and it's a slant. And he obviously does not like getting hit going over the middle. We talk about going back to last year with Baker Mayfield. He said basically he gave up on a route, and once he gave up on that route, it caused an interception. It's not the fact that Anthony Schwartz doesn't have good raw materials, but one of the most difficult positions to play is wide receiver. The first thing you have to understand is that you have to see the coverage one way, and the quarterback has to see the coverage that same way, right? To just start off with that means you guys got to y'all got to be able to read each other's mind, right? Then if you guys both happen to see the same coverage, you have 3 different things you can do after you see the coverage. You can continue through a zone. You can sit down in a zone. You can convert your route on a broken play, or you can do a scramble drill. So now you got 4 things that you have to process after you process the fact that you got the right defense together. and then you have to catch the football. Now that's the easiest part, right? But it should be. That's all you do. You don't block. You don't really tackle nobody. You don't kick or punt. That's what you do. And he's not a natural catcher of the football. The ball gets into his body. He's not a guy who converts very well and catching the football, tucking the football, and getting upfield. And once again, he does not like contact. So my thought process is this. Could you use him some places else with Schwartz in the offense? Sure you could. But here's the problem. I don't know if Kevin Stefanski is creative enough or adaptable enough as a play caller to put him in the positions to do that. I would never have him running that. I would have him running a segment of jet motion. He would have 9, 6, 10, 15 different things he could do off one jet motion, and that would be his role. Once he got that down and the defense was worried about it, then guess what? You can actually move him around and do some other things. But until then, he is a situational player. He is what you call Josh Cribbs, right? Get him some stuff where he can do something, put him on special teams. But I think it's
but Josh didn't mind contact.
He loved contact.
Guys, and that's the problem with Anthony Schwartz.
I hate to say it, but you know who he really reminds me of? John Ross. Remember when the Bengals drafted him?
Yes.
Now, the Bengals drafted him in the first round, which was really dumb. But he's the same type of guy. In college, great speed, but no production. And that's what Schwartz was. Great speed. He wows you at the combine.
I blame Tyreek Hill for this.
Well, why we would draft a really fast guy.
I think it's a copycat league.
Tyreek Hill produce in college? I can't remember for sure, but I thought
he wasn't that dude. You know,
Right.
he was kind of like you could see why the Browns would say, you know, we're going to get a Tyreek Hill type here who can take the top off the defense. He's lightning fast, and we can use him in a lot of different ways. The only problem with what you just said about how you would use him, and I understand there's a lot of things you can do off the jet, but he's just going to become that guy. Tyreek Hill catch the damn football. He'll catch it and then turn and run, and he's gone.
In
and I haven't
fairness
seen
to
that this
Schwartz,
guy can do that.
he's only in the second year. Guys do improve.
They
we were talking about
right now. It feels like a bad pick, though.
We were talking about Deontay Johnson of the Steelers, who is a really good receiver. I think he's in that same class with Amari Cooper, not elite, but the next level of wide receivers. When he first came into the league, he had a bad drops problem.
How long has he been in?
Yeah, he did.
He still got some drop problems.
He still does, but he got better. Last year, he took a big step.
He got a whole lot better.
He got a whole lot better. He's
real...
been in the league like 4 or 5 years.
Well,
I
that's
think,
heartening at least, because he really did just start turning it on. So
yeah,
that's good.
Yeah.
Here's my question and this is what I don't understand. Last year, his main problem was drops, right? We all agree on that. Like, he was fast. Nobody's complaining about his route running necessarily, are they? I mean, but regardless, his number one problem that we all know him for is drops. He's had a whole offseason. Wouldn't that be the only thing that you did if you were a professional football player?
Buy a jugs
and you
machine
knew there was
catch
one
300
problem.
balls a day.
Exactly, every single day. And that'd be, if you knew you had one thing you had to improve on, that's the only thing I would be doing. And you're young, this is your whole life, you're gonna retire in 10 years max. Just concentrate for one summer and just don't do anything except catch footballs. Did he do that?
Maybe he did. Maybe it's a mental thing.
I think it probably is.
You know,
I
maybe
think
it's in his head.
You talked about the fear of contact. You can catch those balls all day long in the summertime from a jugs machine, coming at 75 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Nobody's bearing down on you. And
right.
Well,
then you have people practice bearing down on you. I mean it. Like, you have some
you're
people.
right. No, you're
I'm
right.
talking have your friends there, just like at least in your face. Like, there's ways around
I'm talking
that.
about
Train.
the threat of being decapitated.
Right, but there are
as
ways.
you're in this position.
I'm not saying just being an empty field catching a ball. I'm saying there are training things I'm sure you can do to simulate in some way without injuring the guy. And I just don't understand
I'm rooting
Remember
for
when,
him.
like, LeBron would decide to become a good free throw shooter over the summer?
Right.
He's just like, I don't like this part of my game. And then he'd just spend all summer like a psychopath in a gym, and then his percentage would go up like 8% for the next year. Why can't, I mean, I know not everyone's LeBron, but why can't people at least approach it with that same sort of determination?
I understand what Mike's saying wholeheartedly. Like, I like when people get older, right, and they say they lose athleticism, right? To me, I look at it and I'm like, no. I've torn 2 ACLs. And my goal was just to dunk a basketball again.
Right.
And I just worked on my vertical and plyometrics for a whole year, and I jumped higher than I did before that. My thought is, like, how can Carmelo Anthony be not athletic? Like, what do you mean?
Right.
Like, this is your job. I think with him, Anthony Schwartz, he's just a track guy, right? He's not. He's in the middle ground. He's not fast enough to say I'm fast like Usain Bolt, right? I'm not that fast, but I'm faster than most of the people who play football. But the problem is, people who are fast that play football, that only play football, they got all of the tools. They can catch, they can run, and they're just as fast as you. I think he just happened to be a guy that hit it big, and I'm fast, and he got in the league because he's a track guy.
But to your point, and I agree with you, I would say that's the reason to think that it's going to take, like if he's going to be good, it might take time because he's not a natural player.
Yeah.
And can he develop those
And
skills?
how long do you
I don't
wait?
know.
And speaking of that, how long do you wait for?
You can't rely
for
on him to be a
DPJ?
key guy. Certainly not.
But no, you can't. Not
Yeah.
now. But we need him to be a key guy right now.
At some point,
we need
yeah.
like if you start listing the guys that we have at receiver, he's going to be in the top 3 names that you name.
Yeah.
So is DPJ.
By default.
But these guys aren't producing like
No.
that.
Well, I mean, we don't know that. The season hasn't started yet. It's one preseason
We
game.
gave
we saw
DPJ.
both of them last year.
DPJ
Right.
is all of a sudden the number 2. Like I don't
He got promoted by
got
default because people left.
And people, you say his name like he got numbers. You're like, oh, DPJ. Right after Amari Cooper, we good. No, he. I haven't seen him do anything.
No, they don't have a number 2 receiver. That's
that
they
is
have
a
a
big
they have a
problem.
3, a 4,
For
and a
team
5.
goal,
But
if you're the Browns and it's a normal season and they're picking you between 6 and 11 and 9 and 8, that's cool. You know, we're used to going into a season with major holes.
Yes.
But if you're a team who's in the conversation to go to the Super Bowl,
Yeah.
and you've got the Bengals and the Bills and the Chiefs and the Ravens and the Chargers. And all these teams, and you're going to say we're weak at wide receiver, but you know. You're burying your head in the sand and thinking you're going to have a chance because this is a passing league.
I hear you,
And
but
our
there
receivers,
are. Do the Bills have a clear number 2 guy receiver?
I'll take all of the Bills
All of them,
receivers
all of
over ours without even
Who's
looking
that
at the
13
roster.
kid? That 13
Yeah, the kid who came on at the end of last year is their
Yep.
number 2. But
Gabriel
he's
Davis is
unproven.
good.
Yes, very good.
But whether they
What'd you
do
say?
or not, whether the Bills have one or not, it still doesn't make any sense
neither
for us
do the
not
Ravens.
to go after one if there's somebody
Agreed.
available.
I don't know that there was
There's no one
listen,
who can upgrade us on the market right now. And
Every team's
I'd
got
bring
some
Will
flaws.
Fuller in, just-
Every team's got some flaws, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, that's the Browns' flaws. Number 2 receiver and defensive tackle.
And my point there is that's
Yeah.
a bad area to have a flaw. It's like saying we're a World Series contender, but our pitching is really
It's less of a big deal if Watson is the quarterback, but he's not.
I think. I think this puts in perspective. Tyler Boyd might be better than our number 1 receiver. He's comparable.
I don't think so.
The number 3 is comparable to your number 1.
Yeah, but that's an extreme circumstance with the Bengals.
They're in our
receivers
division.
yeah, that's the
I
team
don't
you gotta
agree.
beat.
And listen, I love Tyler Boyd. He's not as good as Amari Cooper, I don't think.
Well, what's stunning about
Yeah.
Amari Cooper is
Yeah.
when you look at his
Production.
stats, macro, and even micro, season to season. What you'll see is
inconsistent.
this is what he is because
Yeah.
we know who he is now. He's got a large enough sample size. He catches 5 balls a game, under 5 balls a game, and he scores a touchdown not even every other game. McNuggets, can you throw his numbers up again?
We will give us 1 sec.
All right, so the problem with that, Bull, is he's not a complimentary guy. So he's played in 108 games, and he's got 517 receptions. So that's less than 5 catches a game.
Yep.
He's also averaging less than a touchdown every 2 games. Those aren't number 1 receiver numbers. Amari Cooper, the name, because he was at Alabama and because he was so highly touted, but the name carries less and less clout with each season that he has that isn't a wide receiver 1 season.
And I think we talked about it. DeQuell mentioned this here before when you talk about Odell Beckham Jr. and they said who better, Odell or Amari Cooper. I said that's not even close. If Odell Beckham Jr. is healthy,
But he's never healthy. Never.
Amari Cooper is not the bastion of health. I mean, he's been injured and nicked up too. And if you ask me, to a point, think about this.
Amari Cooper has 21 touchdowns the last 3 years. That's pretty good.
Yes.
Yeah, but
I'm happy we have Amari Cooper.
Okay,
I am
21
too.
touchdowns, but that's still less than a touchdown every other game.
Well, how many does Odell Beckham have the last 3 years?
Well, I'm not going to compare him to Odell Beckham because
Right.
Odell Beckham's not here.
And he also
I think Odell Beckham's a better talent, but Odell is pointless because Odell hasn't had a good, healthy year in 6 years.
he had a pretty decent Super Bowl when they
I
needed
just
him.
need my wide
Until he
receiver
got hurt again,
1.
right?
I need my wide receiver 1 to
Yeah.
have more than 7 touchdowns a year. I just do. I want him to have more than that.
I look around. All I do is I look around the league and I say when I go roster for roster, right? and you start looking at the Chargers with Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, and you like, dang, these two guys is big, tall, strong.
Yes, if you compare the best teams in the AFC, the Browns are near the bottom at wide receiver. The best teams. They're better than Baltimore, and that's probably it of the contending teams in the AFC.
I would rather be. I think they have the best running backs, and not just in the AFC. I think in the NFL. I would rather have the best wide receivers in the NFL.
Yeah.
And a bottom tier running back.
But
room.
who are they going to get as their number 2 receiver that was going to make them that much better?
That's not my job. That's the Browns'
I mean,
job.
even if they had Jarvis Landry,
they've got all this cap space.
Are they better than any of these other teams we're talking about?
It's worth throwing out there.
But
they're better than they are as constituted.
Agreed, but we've known this for a while. I think we're panicking about it.
I thought the decision to let Jarvis walk was a bad one. We talked about it on the show at the time.
I agree.
I didn't mind it if they had a plan, but I just don't like that our second receiver on the team right now didn't earn it. He got there because 2 other guys left. I would prefer for it to 3 other guys.
Hollywood
left.
Higgins.
I would. Yes, you're right.
He's in Carolina now.
I think Hollywood Higgins is not a starting receiver.
Why has he got that cool nickname then?
He shouldn't have it.
All
He hasn't
right,
earned
well,
it. I mean,
agree to disagree.
They called Daniel Jones Danny Dimes. He ain't earned his nickname either.
Great nickname.
Yeah, but you know
But
what?
he's one of the worst quarterbacks in
He's
the
more
league.
like Danny Penny's in reality, but Danny
It's
Dimes
a terrible
is a great
nickname because it conjures up this idea that he's dropping dimes.
I know.
Right.
And he's dropping dimes to the other team's defensive backs.
Exactly.
That's not good. Who would have thought that Baker Mayfield, he's throwing to better receivers in Carolina than he would be if he was here right now.
I know. Are you fantasizing again? Is that what
No,
you're doing in front of us?
No, somebody sent me the worst text ever yesterday. You know what it was? I said, here's our nightmare. Baker throws for 300, 2 touchdowns to Hollywood Higgins, rolls the Browns, and I stopped reading it.
Right.
I didn't even
I
finish
think
the
you
tweet.
guys are
I'm like,
going
I've had
too
enough.
far.
Hey, don't forget
enough.
Don't
I
forget,
think
I'm
you're
going to
making
be
it
at that
seem
game.
like every team's other
You're going,
guys
right?
are great and the Browns' other guys are not. We'll see. They played 1 preseason game. We got to give these guys a
Are
chance.
you going to report for us when you go?
I was
or are you
thinking
just
about
going
that.
as a
I'm going to
fan?
be too drunk.
You're
I don't
just
want to
going as a
represent
fan.
us when I'm at that game.
You know what, though? It would be
Can
great.
we get
I
the
know.
best bets? I want to see how I'm dominating. Was that
We'll
what
get to good bet, bad bet in a sec. First, we got to do what the internet is saying, and as always,
Great television, man.
when we do what the internet is saying, it's brought to you by PCC Airfoils.
I can
Looking for a job
sign
with
a
career
waiver.
advancement and great benefits? PCC Airfoils is a leading manufacturer in Northeast Ohio.
they're-
All locations of PCC Airfoils in
Number
Eastlake, Mentor, Wycliffe, and Minerva are hiring for all positions starting at
Only
$18
airfoils
and
I
up.
use.
Plus, get a full benefit package, paid time off, and a signing bonus. Apply online at precast.com/careers to learn more.
Don't we have a video?
For Roundstone.
No. It's,
You gotta
My
do it.
bad.
You
We
gotta
got
do
Elvis
it
for
a
Roundstone
cappella.
today.
so
we missed
you
it.
probably weren't even thinking about
I
what you
wasn't
were
even
going to
thinking
do.
about doing a song for PCC.
All
I
right,
thought we were
you
doing
down
a
with
PCC song.
PCC?
Sorry. Yeah, you know me.
There we go. That works. That always works in a pinch.
I
Throw it
hate
in.
that one, but who cares what I like?
Yeah, I know.
Let's-
You got If you had your golf book here, I wouldn't have done that.
I know. You're right. You're right. That's
People
totally
only care
fair.
about what the internet likes, and what the internet likes is this dunk yesterday from none other than Bronny James. Let's take the tag board full here. If you guys missed it, Bronny James is overseas in France playing in a high school European tour, which seems ridiculous in its own right.
Drop a
But
bomb on that?
Bronny James took off. We'll play it again here for UG Bush. Take a nice
Look
look.
at those children on his team. Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
that's a nice dunk.
And that's pretty nasty.
How good is he, by the way?
He's a 4-star recruit.
That's nice.
He's not an elite prospect,
He's
right?
not. No,
you
he's
guys
not.
know I don't.
He's the
you,
number
hey,
62 player
Here's the thing
in
is,
ESPN.
You guys know
he's
I
the number
hate seeing this.
62. If his name was Jamal Smith, I don't know that he's top 100. And I don't know that world at all. I had someone who does know that world tell me that. That's exactly what he said.
Right.
Here's your problem. This is the thing. It's the best. I didn't know how good he was, but let's talk about it's the LaMelo Ball syndrome, right? LaMelo Ball was like when LeVar Ball was like, oh, he's gonna be a number 1 pick,
LeVar
number
Ball's
2
such
pick,
a
right?
D-bag.
People are like, come on, he got a weird shot. He doing all that. See, but what happens is it's all about
Hype.
It's the hype, but then pretty soon what happens is they start having resources.
Right.
And the resources that LeBron got, you could already tell. Like, he could already shoot. But now he's jumping a little higher, right? His body is a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
Then you start getting into that level where it's like, well, that's all he gonna do. That's his life. His father gonna put him on that rotation, that routine. And then pretty soon, when the mentality get there, mixed with the fact that he got the facilities, he got the trainers.
And the DNA.
And the DNA.
Yep.
And he's probably at some special lab
what's
in
not
Nova
fair-
Scotia shooting him up with special stuff that makes him
What's
taller and
not
faster.
fair is that, like, if he's just a decent NBA player,
Yeah.
people are going to look at that as a big disappointment.
Well, look at Michael Jordan's kids. They were average college players.
but they didn't
at
even get to
small
the
schools.
NBA,
No,
right?
but imagine
I know.
when you walk into a gym and you're Jeffrey Jordan, everybody's like,
he's
right.
there
But I'm
he is.
saying, like, if Bronny makes it to the NBA and he plays for 10, 12 years, and
averages 6 points a
right,
game.
he's a
yeah.
a guy
it's a
who's
disappointment.
deserves to be on the team, but is not any kind of all-star or anything.
Right.
Still not a terrible
That's
life
an
for the guy.
amazing accomplishment to get to the
It is,
NFL.
but
or the
unfortunately,
NBA.
it's minimized because
Right.
it's junior.
Yeah.
He'll I think he'll keep working. The worst thing that could happen with him was him be ranked number 1 or 2 or in the top 10.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
then,
you're right.
Now,
More
if,
pressure,
if
more
you
pressure.
if you 60, you can say, bro, they don't think you good at all.
Yeah.
Yes.
Expectations are already
Right.
Yep.
dampened.
By the way, 2 things I hate about basketball drive me nuts. Number 1 is all the what's the word I'm looking for? When they take fake fouls. Why can't I think of the word?
Flopping.
Flopping. I couldn't think of the word. Flopping. Number 2, show the video again. Can we show that video? I hate this when players do this on the bench. Makes me freaking crazy every time I see
The
it.
hold me back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, what are you going to
Oh,
do?
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
hold me back.
Look at this LRWD. Right there. Little red and
That
white
was the
dude.
weakest hold me back.
The
Yeah,
hold me
yeah.
back.
Oh.
Hold me back. I've never seen a dunk before. Hold me
Yeah.
back. Hold me
Yeah.
back.
You
I
know
hate
what?
that.
Where I first saw it was at the dunk contest.
Hold me
Yeah.
back.
You know,
so
it
stupid.
became a
It-
big
because
thing.
I'm
at the
so
dunk
annoying when
contest.
guys
Probably
do that.
sincere, like the first time or
Yeah.
something.
Yes. And now it's like shtick.
now they all mimic it, and now those
Yeah.
kids there saw it, and now
You
they
think
think
kids
they
are
can do it.
imaginative? You'd think they'd come up with something fresh.
Right. Hate that.
Something that we like.
Now,
No, they just
nuts.
mimic.
Now,
it.
It's kind of like the high five. Like
The Bronny
it
thing-
had its time.
Yeah.
By the way,
It's
remember the
come and gone.
Bronny thing. I hate seeing him getting better because, as you'll recall, my goal is for him to stink and for us to draft him as a sympathy thing and for
get
Cleveland,
LeBron to come
to
home.
get LeBron. So this works against my narrative.
And by the way, like, I know your buddy Skip Bayless tweeted and took a shot at LeBron's kid, which was absurd. But I
Well,
don't
put
want
it in context before you say take a shot.
Yeah.
Some people might look at it as a backhanded compliment.
No, it was not a compliment at all.
He did say, "Wow,
Wow.
you got
Yeah.
it done." Here it is. Hey, Bronny, impressive. But your dad would have dunked it left-handed, so that's derogatory.
Yeah.
You sure got away with it, though.
It's lame that
I
Skip
don't,
did it.
I
But,
don't see nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, that's why I said some
Oh.
might not see that as a shot.
He said I think he just
What he
he's
pointed at,
nudging him.
here's what
okay, I see you.
did you just meet Skip Bayless today?
No.
Of course that's a shot.
No, I just think it's like
Of course that's a shot, but that's why Skip is the best at what he does, because he gets people all aggravated.
He's on. Yeah, it's
He
part
gets
of it-
people like
it's
me
part of the
screaming
Skip
and yelling,
character.
"What the hell? Skip Bayless is an idiot!" Blah, 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 blah. But that's what he's trying to do because he wants you to watch his show,
And he's very
it
good at
works.
It's like me going to see Mike Pope, right?
Yeah.
He's doing a comedy act, right?
Yeah.
That would be nice.
He come through, he say a joke, and it shut the house down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I go up to him and be like, man, you know what? I like that. Robert Williams would have said it like this, but you got away with it, though.
I met a lot of you guys.
Now, I said Robin Williams.
Mm-hmm.
If I put your name and Robin Williams in the same sentence, that means in the culture, you did a good thing.
No.
He's comparing
No,
Bronny
you're wrong.
to the greatest player of all time.
Yeah.
If you told Mike's not a stand-up. Mike does.
I don't know. He knows.
No,
who I
Mike
am.
does stand up,
call?
and he
I
does
mean,
it
you
very
do,
well.
but
I've
like,
seen him
well,
do it.
that's not your thing.
I'm really kind of a chameleon of sorts.
He's an
Yeah.
entertainer.
A Renaissance
I don't
man.
even
I
know
think
what
he
they
could
call
be
Williams
a
is an
skit
actor.
comedian.
Right.
Yeah.
He's a very creative writer, but I'm telling you, I've seen his stand-up. He's very good at
None
stand-up.
of this matters.
Mike,
The point is, LeBron's son needs to stink.
See, I
more
just
so
insulted
that
Mike
we-
saying he's not a
no,
stand-up.
now,
not
Mike
at
is
all.
very
Not at all.
uncomfortable with
Yes.
anybody talking about him or giving him
No,
praise.
but like,
Yeah,
but
only
like,
if
if
it's
you
positive.
said, because like we had Don Jamieson here a couple weeks ago, right? Like, if you said to Don, like, "Oh, that was good," but Robin Williams would have done it, he'd be like, "F you."
Right.
He may not say that publicly, but
well,
privately, he'd say
Bronny's
that.
16 or 17
Yeah.
years old. He's being compared
Yeah.
to LeBron's to his father, who's the greatest,
Yeah.
by his father's biggest critic.
Yeah.
Right.
What I found most interesting about it
thought it was cool.
was the fact that he was complimenting LeBron.
You
Skip
can-
never
Yeah.
does that.
That's how you can interpret it too. And
by
that's
the
how-
way, he's right.
That's
LeBron
kind of
would have finished with
That
his
is kind
money.
of how I would interpret it. Is it's almost like a sign of respect and like a rite of passage, saying, "And now, as I have tormented the father, I
Yeah.
shall begin to torment
Yeah,
the son."
exactly.
It almost legitimizes him. in
It
a way
does.
because
Sure,
he's saying you're worth critiquing,
Yeah.
you're worth going after in the same way that I went after.
Yeah.
your
Shoot
father.
at Eagles.
If
not
I
say-
had-
I hate that there's national guys that like decide I'm a LeBron hater and I'm just going to always go with that
that was
narrative.
his brand.
Like Nick Wright,
he
who I love.
He makes about $10 million a year, so
do you
it
know
works
Nick?
for him.
Do you know Nick Wright?
He wins.
I do know Nick,
Yeah.
and I think Nick is really
He's great.
underrated. I
He's
think
great.
Yes.
But he loves LeBron and will never say anything bad about him.
Right. Mhm.
And Skip is like always, and it's like, that's silly because you can critique LeBron and not be a hater in the same
But
But
vein.
it becomes a part of their character, and it also becomes a part of their engagement, and that helps.
That's true, no
And
doubt.
that's a big
Yeah.
part of it. Conflict, even if I don't even think they totally believe those what they're saying, obviously.
Yeah.
But they're playing a role now that they know gets a response.
You're
and
absolutely
who can blame
right.
them?
Skip he carved his lane early. At the time he was coming up, when he was just starting on First Take,
Yeah.
he had decided who are the Eagles in our sports society. And at the time, they were Tiger Woods, T.O., Skip Bayless. Or I'm sorry, LeBron James. So Skip just said, all right, everybody's heaping praise on these guys. And I think it's a little overboard. So I'm going to put all three of those guys in my crosshairs. And Tiger became a front runner who couldn't close deals, you know. T.O. became a showman who was always about himself over team. And LeBron became a guy who didn't want to take the last shot, didn't have the clutch gene, will
Prince
never be Michael
James.
Jordan. Prince James.
Prince
Do you know how
James.
many times I had to sit next to that man within arm's reach and watch
Within
him?
striking distance.
And I'm telling you, it was the thing I'm most proud of in my life is that I never took a swing at him.
Wow.
And I love Skip personally. I really do, because he's not that guy in real life.
Right.
Very soft-spoken, very polite, one of the nicest, most thoughtful people I've ever known.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. But when I used to have to hear him
After you'd get
talk
off
that
one of those, though,
nonsense.
after you'd hear him do that, all right, so it's commercial break. Does he go like, sorry about that,
No,
guys? You know what I had to do.
no.
He stays in character.
absolutely believes every word that he says.
Wow.
And then-
Absolutely. Well, now, whether he's talked himself into that position
Right.
or not, he believes it.
And then you juxtapose it with his Tim Tebow love. And
I know.
Oh, that's
Like,
noisy.
it was like, hold on.
Yeah.
I would watch. This is crazy. I would watch Denver Broncos games just to see what Tim Tebow would do, and then go watch Skip to see how he was
know.
going to spin
And
it.
that's why he's successful.
Right.
Our ratings
And
during
we're talking
the Tim
about him
Tebow,
now.
I know. Our ratings during the Tim Tebow stuff
Oh my God.
were absolutely the network was throwing parties
Well,
every day at noon when our show came
Yeah, because
off the air.
people loved Tim Tebow, and yet he was awful in the
Right.
NFL.
So what-
It was a crazy thing.
What Skip did was he just took the lane of contrarian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's such a good debater. Mm-hmm.
Right. He frustrates his opponents.
Yes.
We need to
exactly
clip
what he
this
does.
segment. You need to send this to him, have him send it out because it's about him and he'll like that. And it's mostly complimentary. And then we'll get his viewers and followers to like us.
I
Do
would
that.
rather do without.
I would love to get a chance to debate.
Well, if
Skip.
you do it, I'll
I
send
know
it
it's
to
never
him.
going to happen.
Listen,
but-
I'll
At
tell you
some
this.
point, Skip's
Yeah.
going to come
So
on, right?
one of the greatest shows that we've ever did,
Yeah.
and Skip will tell you this too, was with Chad Johnson. Chad Johnson
Yeah.
would come into the studio. We all became friendly with him.
Yeah.
He had told our producers, I want a 2-hour. This one coming in for one segment and doing one topic,
Right.
no good. I want Bayless for 2 hours. And, Chad is not a bashful guy at all.
No. Yeah.
It was the most compelling 2 hours of television I've ever been involved with.
Wow.
We flew to Cincinnati, did it live from the Bengals locker room. There was a point where Chad, if he was here, would tell you this. There was a point in the show where Chad was on the edge of tears. He was so rattled. He was so thunderstruck at the way
Yeah.
Skip came at him with both fists at the same time.
Yeah.
He started the show. They shook hands, and he started the show, Skip did, by telling him everything that's wrong with him. That's hard for anybody to hear.
Absolutely.
But what Skip's logic was, he's gonna need a standing 8 count 2 minutes into this show, and he did, and he never recovered. And I've seen a lot of people that do this for a living, like you.
Yeah.
That say the same thing. I want him. I want him.
Yes.
I want him.
Absolutely.
We'd bring them into the studio. We'd give them 10 minutes with Skip,
Yeah.
and they would leave with their tail between their legs, saying, "Well, that didn't go like I thought
Absolutely,
it would."
because I think I'm one of, if not the best debater in this town. He's a national debater. That would be
You have to think that.
Absolutely.
You have to think
and
that.
so I would love to get the chance.
But it's something to watch on a daily basis.
It's
Go
the
ahead.
opposite of Chuck Todd from Meet the Press, just so everyone knows.
Shut up.
We have to
The
move on to
absolute
Guardians.
opposite.
But, Jay, real quick.
We're gonna have to leave
mentioned
it
in the
there.
past that possibly Ocho Cinco we might be able to get on at
Absolutely.
some point.
No, he is
And
totally.
Skip, too, at some point?
Chad has agreed to do it. It's a matter. I would much rather have him here So, we've got to hope that happens, that for some reason Cleveland
if we
is
could
on
have him
his
the week they
travel
play the
schedule.
Bengals and Halloween. Oh, my God.
But he has agreed to come on and do it remotely, too. So I would love to get him the week of the Bengals game.
Yeah.
Chad Ochocinco will be on this program in the future for sure.
And Skip a possibility? Chance?
Well, you have to understand that Skip does his show early in the morning here, our time, and as soon as the show is over, he goes directly to the gym, and there's nothing that will change that for Skip. So I don't know that we could ever get Skip live. We could probably have a chance to do something on tape with Skip.
Just a good little tease for the viewers out there.
Absolutely.
Our Rolodex of guests.
And by the way, we get Isaiah Thomas according to Brad as well.
Yes.
Yeah, we got some big-time people coming through.
And same with Stephen A., by the way. Stephen A. has agreed to do the show, but the problem is they're on from 10 to 12, and then he goes immediately into his radio show, and it's just a matter of semantics and timing it out. But hopefully
We'll make it work.
That will happen.
This is our promise to you guys. We'll get those
even if
three
it's,
guys
you know,
on at
like
some
what we
point.
could do is try to schedule a primetime special
That'd be
where
crazy.
we got Skip and perhaps Stephen A. together, and we did something where
If
it was
we did
in
that,
the
we'll break
evening
the
and we
internet.
pushed
That would
it
be
live.
awesome.
No, listen, it would. Those guys have a very. They love each other like brothers. They recently had a public spat.
Yeah, you said they would patch it up. You said
No, they did.
Yeah, I know.
I
but
was talking to both of them
yeah.
like, you guys are better than this. Put it
You were
aside.
Dr. Phil'ing them?
I kind of went Dr. Phil.
Nice.
They figured it out on their
Somebody
own,
had
but I was
to.
texting both of them individually. And it was about, usually they put their egos aside when it comes to the two of them. And in this particular case, that didn't happen. But they've come to the light and they realized that they were just being.
That's what UCSS does. We mend all and all
We try to bring people
Yes.
together.
Speaking
Let's
of
talk
poten-
little
hey,
Guardians, though. We
speaking
can't
of
ignore
potential,
the first place Guardians.
Go ahead. Speaking of potential guests, though, celebrity guests, the band The Spin Doctors follows me on Twitter. I can hit them up and see if maybe they want to come on.
Nice.
Maybe they'd be our house band. For
I
a
was just
day.
kidding about that. I don't really want to talk to the Spin Doctors. I was trying to be.
Y'all gotta stop doing that. Y'all done got
Oh
me
my
3 times today. I feel like this is racist. Like y'all got an inside joke. Y'all know y'all playing, and I just going
We
on.
get
my
these
head.
inside Spin
Guardians.
Doctor jokes. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, the Guardians, man, split a pair with the Tigers yesterday.
Yeah.
Gave the second one away. Eli Morgan was.
He's been awful
He has
Yep.
been. They
the
gotta
last
send him
couple of
down.
months.
They gotta
He's
send
been
him
awful,
down.
and Brian Shaw's been awful, too.
I got to tell you, I still think Brian Shaw has it. I still think he has it. He's had a couple of recent outings where he's looked very good.
Yeah.
He still throws 95, and he still has an 82
I don't
mile
trust
an hour
him.
curveball that breaks 18 inches.
I never trust him in a big spot.
Well, that's because of what happened here
Yeah.
once upon a time. But,
But,
he has good stuff.
How about Jimenez in that first game? Oh, again with these stupid Browns facts.
There it is. Go ahead.
I hate this idea.
Drop that.
Listen, I did
I love
this
this
for a
idea.
one-time
Listen to
thing.
this
I'm sorry.
I think it's a great idea.
It does help.
Keep those coming.
So obnoxious. The first game of the doubleheader. So I mean, Jimenez has been so clutch. I talked about this on my podcast.
Did it in both
today.
games yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. And they really let that one get away. Rosario's been great. Had a terrible day in the doubleheader. I think he went 0 for 7.
Two
Hit
double
two
plays.
double plays.
Yeah,
The
in big
second one-
spots.
in big spots. The first one was runner on first, nobody out. And then
Yeah.
the second one, I think they had first and second, one out. They had
End of the
already scored a
game.
run.
Or
no, it
end
was
of
the
the eighth
eighth.
inning. End
It
of
was
the eighth inning.
5-4, first
Yeah.
and second, one out.
Right.
I thought, it's not just Francona. A lot of teams do this now with young pitchers. I thought, what's his name? Xavier Curry, the kid who pitched the second game.
Yeah.
I wanted to see him keep going. I know he gave up 2 runs in the 5th inning, but it wasn't like they were smacking
I
him
know,
around.
but Bull, with the quality arms that they have in their bullpen, the Guardians' bullpen is so deep.
I know, but
It
those
was
guys.
his first. You
Remember
were
we were
afraid
talking
of letting a
about
team go through the lineup a
catches,
third
we were
time
just talking
about
against
it
him.
before.
I just thought he gave up runs on like bloops. It was like ground ball
Right.
singles, and the base hit he gave up.
No, the leadoff hit was one down the third base line
Right.
that you had to leave go foul. It didn't.
Right.
And then the next guy, it should have been nobody out in that inning.
Right.
Or 2 out, nobody on. The ball falls in center field between Quan
Right.
and the kid that's playing center.
It's like I'm
last
there.
night.
Yeah,
is.
this strategy, boy, I tell you, y'all
But-
cats. Yeah.
We lost our non-baseball guys.
Oh.
No.
Yeah.
But, and then even like the base hit he gave up that made it 3-2. Like that was a great pitch that the guy just went out and got and served it out there. I don't know. I want to see these young guys. Give them a chance. They get into trouble, give them a next inning, and then obviously Morgan gives up the back-to-back home run.
I had another idea. In addition to the occasional Deshaun Watson facts popping up to keep their attention,
Yeah.
we need maybe some like action movie music. So it's like bum 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 bum
Oh,
bum
no,
bum
that's a
bum
good
bum
idea.
bum 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 bum. You know,
By the
so
way, the crowd once again embarrassing
because
yesterday.
yeah, not
both
great.
games.
I mean, that's just. I know the Tigers stink, but By the way,
team started the day in first place by 2.5 games.
How about this? The home run Jimenez hit to give him the lead in the first game was off Andrew Chafin, the left-handed pitcher for the Tigers. It was really good.
Changeup, I think, wasn't it? That was a home run that he hit in the second game.
It was the first home run he'd given up to a lefty since like August 20th of last year.
This is like
Almost
a 1960s game show.
Since that pitcher had given up a home run to a lefty.
Wow. Jimenez has been incredible.
Well, listen. All right, so this is the thing we talked about.
Yeah.
You said it earlier. Yes, the Guardians are going to have ebbs and flows, right? There are ups and peaks and valleys.
Yeah.
And I thought Earl brought up a good question. Did they peak too much, too early?
No, I don't believe it.
Because here's the thing. I mean, they could. How many games are left in the season?
46, I think.
It's 40 or something. You don't see where there's a stretch where they could lose 6 out of 7.
I think
they
absolutely
will.
That will happen again.
They will. They're a young team.
See what I'm saying?
And the back end of the season's rough, from what I understand.
But
But at least they're home.
Yeah.
I don't even buy that they're peaking right now. I mean, your best player, Jose Ramirez, is not playing great.
Well, they've won 8 of 10, so I mean.
No, but they've done that a few
hot.
times this year.
And
so,
they usually follow that by losing 7 in a row.
Right. Hopefully they can avoid a longer. Obviously, you'll go through a week where you're not playing as well, but hopefully they can avoid it being 2 weeks.
I'll contribute something to this. I did see an interesting stat that caught my eye, and that's that one of the things they're attributing their success to is that I didn't know that they were first in the AL in steals. And
they're running a
third
lot.
in all of baseball.
Yeah, they're running a lot.
I had no idea, and that's so that's putting everybody in scoring.
5 guys with double-digit
One of the
steals.
things that helps a team is when its superstar is the hardest plays harder than anybody else. And so the rub-off factor with Jose Ramirez running everything out, hustling, very smart base runner. He'll know when a pitcher's has maybe lulled him, he's not looking at him anymore, and he'll just go and swipe the bag. And the dugout is all these young kids are watching him.
Particularly through a young team, too.
Yes.
You got a bunch of vets on there. They're like, I remember when I had hope. But when it's a bunch of kids, they're like, oh, we all got to be like that.
You're a pitcher. We talked about it. We're laughing and joking and saying how Ricky Henderson and Kenny Lofton, Tim Raines, ain't nobody about to let you steal the base. How the hell are they letting these guys steal bases? I thought that was you could throw people out.
It's not as much a focus of the game.
So the game has evolved to the point where bunting and running have been completely washed out of the sport, unfortunately, because the analytics guys will tell you that.
Oh, sack bunts are so dumb. I hate sack bunts.
Well, I'm okay with them in certain spots. If it's 2-1 in the 8th inning and you're facing the ace and you get a guy on base, you got to move him over, Bull. You got to get him in scoring position.
It depends. You would have to tell me specifically who's hitting, who's on deck.
Well, that's
but generally I hate
the analytics players. They don't take that into account.
Yeah.
So the analytics does not like base stealing. Why?
No.
Well,
because there's other ways to score runs. Now the game has become this: swing away, swing from your heels. If you strike out 150 times, that's all good, as long as you hit 35 home runs. Because the long play on the math, it's just like going for 2 in the NFL. If the league average of converting on 2-point conversions is 52%, and it's just right there at the cusp, then the book says you need to do it every time. Because if you convert at the league average, you're going to score 2 more than every other time.
I would, if I were a head coach in the NFL, go for it every time.
Well,
almost every time.
There's been a couple of coaches that have tried that, and here's why this doesn't work. If you get the reputation, see, they're taking the big sample size of numbers. And traditionally, when you're going for 2, you're down 15 and you need to make it a 2-score game. Okay?
Sure.
When a team always goes for 2, like there was a year where the Steelers decided, just going to do it. Just going to go for 2 every time. Well, now what the book doesn't take into account is defenses are game planning all week for your 2-point plays.
And the statistics can't adjust to that.
And
because you have old
statistics you can't bake that into a number.
Agreed, but it also depends on who I have at quarterback.
That's the same thing as why people aren't bunting?
So in baseball, when they crunch these analytics numbers, they've gone long term and they've figured out how many times sacrifice bunts are successful. And if the percentage isn't to the point where if you've got a 300 hitter up, 3 in 10 times, that man is going to get a hit. If the successful bunt ratio for the entire league is 25%, he's better off swinging away. It's all a numbers play. Now, I hate that because it doesn't take into account close and late. It doesn't take into account the individual bunter that's
I
at
think
home
the
plate,
managers probably take that
that's
into
where
account
the
to some
gut
degree.
comes in. So
Yeah,
the manager knows, hey, I've got this guy. He's
Yeah.
a great bunter. Screw the book. I'm going to have him drop one down.
But
What
that's
I
part
like
of the
with
problem, too,
Terry,
is not a lot of great bunters.
No, because the game is de-emphasized the bunt as
Right.
a play. They don't spend a lot of time
No.
in
That
developmental
also means-
leagues
that also-
teaching guys how to properly bunt.
That also creates opportunity, though, because now less people are bunting, so it's unexpected, so maybe
I
you can
think
surprise some people with
I
it,
do
right?
think
Yes.
running is coming back a little bit.
Well, it absolutely is coming back.
The
And you can
bunting's
take a
not,
look-
but the running is.
The numbers are coming back up on stolen bases.
Yeah.
But Tito is a guy who he's looking at his team.
Yeah.
They
Okay.
can't hit home runs. I think this team has 3 players with double-digit home
Franmil
runs.
Reyes is still
That's
4th
true.
on the team in homers with 9.
Which is sad.
Yeah.
So because they can't hit
Wow.
home runs, you've got to do it a different
Right.
way.
Yes.
Earl Weaver,
Right.
when he was with the Orioles, he lived off the 3-run home run.
Right.
Get him on, over the fence.
Yeah.
Well, Terry's looking at what he has. I think he's the smartest manager in the game. He looks at what he has. He's like, I've got some young, fast guys.
Let him run.
Let's go.
Love it.
Let's take
It's
the
helping
wheels
my
off.
fantasy team, I'll tell you that.
And it helps. It helps.
Oh, go ahead.
We got to do top 5.
Yeah.
do it.
Ultimate 5. And as always, the Ultimate 5 is sponsored by Roundstone Insurance. And our jingle today is once again from our boy Eddie, channeling a little Elvis, which we'll get to in one sec. But if you're looking for insurance, why are you looking anywhere besides Roundstone? Roundstone offers a better alternative for affordable
be
quality
nuts.
health care. For more than a
put you in the
decade,
cuckoo
Roundstone
house.
Insurance has been saving small and mid-sized businesses money up to 20%. Yeah, 20%. Contact us today to learn how you can get great healthcare benefits that your employees will love and save money too.
20%.
I'll have Roundstone Insurance. How about you?
Wow.
Who is off to the side there that he
By the way,
looked like he was looking for approval at
Eddie.
the end?
by the way, we know all we need to know about him. Look at his Rolodex full of DVDs.
I saw that.
Or I want to know what's in that
That's my
collection.
man, Eddie. I like Eddie.
Eddie's the man.
Roundstone.
It looks like he's a DJ.
Insurance.
He can sing.
How about you?
Just picture his neighbors right now in the apartment next to him.
These
Just
are
be
the
like,
fans
"Can we call
we
someone?"
need.
Eddie, man, love it.
Nice
Keep
job,
coming,
brother.
Eddie.
Love it, Eddie.
These are the people that
Good
we
tunes.
embrace.
Yes.
I love these folks.
Yeah.
We're all
Eddie's
in
a diehard, man.
And you know what? He's got a nice quality to his voice.
oh, yeah,
He did.
yeah.
You know?
Sure,
He did
good
an
timbre
excellent
to it.
Baritone.
Solid
Nice.
timbre to that
Good
voice.
timbre, is that what
Yep,
that's called?
Absolutely. I don't
Yeah.
know.
All right.
All right, so today's top 5 are the most iconic sports quotes from
okay, I've been waiting
athletes
on this.
of all time.
Yeah.
So
I've been
quotes
waiting
that
on
you hear and you immediately put, oh, I know who said that, to the name of the face. Mm-hmm. These
All
are no
right.
coaches and no play-by-play calls. We'll do those another
players.
There's just
Okay.
so many
Just
to choose
players.
from. I
They're
can't believe you were
probably
able
all
to.
Yogi Berras.
No
right?
idea how you
No,
were able to
Yogi
narrow
didn't
this
make the
down.
list because Yogis were all too good. He didn't have one specific one that you immediately think that was Yogi.
All right, I already hate your system. Move forward.
Go ahead.
All right.
That doesn't make any sense.
No
what he said.
sense whatsoever.
Let's
go
start
ahead.
with
Because he's
number
so good, he
5.
can't be in the top 5.
Yeah.
Let's start with number 5.
All right.
A different Yankee, Lou Gehrig.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Today,
Well, that's iconic.
I consider
How's that not
myself
number
the
1,
luckiest man on the face of
Do
the
you
earth.
hear that with reverb when
Yes.
you read
You
that?
can't hear it without the echo.
Isn't it amazing that they actually have the audio of it? I mean, that's a long
It
time
is.
ago.
Video, too. They have the
Video,
video.
yeah.
Aliens
They
in
don't
the-
have a video of the whole speech, just
But
that
just
one
that part, but that's
Yeah.
all you need.
Aliens in the Andromeda galaxy just got that about
That's
5
true.
days ago.
It was on the gold. It was on the golden disc too
Yeah.
that went out with Carl Sagan stuff.
yeah.
So
Shout
it's
out to
probably out in
Carl.
space.
All right, what's number 4?
We're going to the hockey goat for this next one.
Oh, a shot not taken is a
You
goal
miss
not scored?
100% of the shots you don't take.
Okay.
Which
That's
then
true.
got reverberated by The Office and Michael Scott.
That does
Well,
nothing for me.
Right,
that show's
right.
overrated, in my opinion.
By
but,
the way, that's a great mindset for dating.
It's
Yeah,
it's
for
a good
everything in life.
for most
Go for
things.
it, man.
Hey,
And it seems like it should be like on a poster with a seagull
Right.
behind it, in like an office.
That's the
too.
way. That's the
That's
way
true.
to get
Yeah,
out of the friends box. Do not be in the friends box hanging out
Anthony?
and taking her conversation about this other guy as close intimacy. Take your shot, shoot your shot. I don't like you. We not friends. We not about to be friends. I like you.
I feel like Anthony's
I'm
been
getting Anthony in
shooting
trouble.
shots. I
I
feel
think
like
I'm
he's
getting
been shooting
getting
shots.
in
He's just
trouble.
getting blocked a lot. Isn't that the case? You are shooting shots.
God, we're
All right.
killing him
It's
now.
okay. It's all
Poor
right.
Anthony.
We're killing
He
him.
never, when he signed up
like-
for this job, he
Listen,
never.
it was just his birthday. He's 25. Things are looking up.
When's
It's not
his
your birthday.
When
It's
was
not your
his
birthday
It
anymore.
was last week.
Yeah, you weren't
How do
here.
I
You
not know
sent
about
nothing.
You were
Yeah,
on
you were on
vacation.
vacation.
You were
you gotta start
driving up
lying
Mount
more,
Rainier.
Anthony. I got feelings for you, girl.
I
Yeah.
love
I have
Anthony.
feelings.
It's all right. We're rooting for you. You know we're rooting for you. It's all with love.
All right, what's number?
That was a bad shot. How you have
Number
that ahead
3.
of Lou Gehrig, I have no idea, but go ahead.
Number 3 from the man,
How can we
the
apply
myth,
this
the
to
legend, Mike
Anthony's?
Tyson.
Oh, that is a
plan.
good one.
That's a
great
great
one.
one.
Against him in the
Hey,
face.
hey.
Mike Tyson, a
facts.
horrible human being, but that is a funny line.
These are really good so far.
These are that.
They're
Hey,
really. I don't. Whoever you stole
That's
this from
facts.
online, I got respect for.
Reddit.
Yep.
He's
Whatever
definitely-
Reddit post you got this from, nice work.
No,
Bless you.
this was me. This is a lot of research. Went into
I
this one.
believe it. I believe it.
I had 2 friends in town this weekend, and we did a little back and
got
forth
all
talking
Well,
about
you've
some
done
stuff.
well so far.
I like
Thank
that
you.
one, though. I like that one.
There was nothing better. Like, I don't care about boxing that much anymore, but when Mike Tyson fought, we would buy.
it
My
was an
friends and
event.
I would get the pay-per-view
Yep.
every time.
Yeah.
Because you want, and usually with boxing, you want to see a great match. With Mike Tyson, you just want to see him kill the guy.
You know
see
what,
what's gonna
though?
happen.
This is a true story on a pay-per-view. I had like a bunch of friends over from college. We ordered pizzas. The doorbell rang just as the fight started.
Yeah.
I went to get the pizzas and pay the guy. I came
Yeah.
back. The fight was over.
That's right.
I missed it. I paid for it. It was at my house.
I remember that fight. I forget who
It was like 90
He was
seconds.
scared,
Not even
right?
90
What was
seconds.
his name? The guy was like scared. You could tell
It might
it was
have been
over.
Michael Spinks.
I think it was.
I'll look it up after we finish.
It
the
was
list.
like
Yeah.
Okay.
90 seconds.
I mean,
and it was a big
I still
fight.
can't believe he
I
lost to
mean,
Buster
Tupac
Douglas.
died, like
Coming
coming out of a Mike Tyson.
Coming out of a
Yeah.
Tyson fight.
Crazy.
Number 2.
Shady.
Number 2, my personal favorite quote of all time, but it's not the most iconic. Practice?
Yeah,
We
that's
talking about
good.
practice?
It's good.
I'm not
Yeah,
talking about a game.
not the game that I love and die for. We talk about
We talk
practice.
about practice.
That's why we didn't do any practice shows
Okay,
leading
now-
up to UCSS.
Before you do number 1, I thought of this the other day. I'll go one that I remember. I'll throw it out there, and if you guys have one that you think might be number 1 that we haven't seen on the list, mine would be. Do you guys remember when Jim Mora was
He's a coach.
talking?
Well,
to
we
he's a
mentioned
coach,
that one. He
yes.
said no coaches.
No coaches.
Oh,
just
no coach.
athletes.
Because
Okay,
to me,
good.
otherwise I'd say Denny Green.
Denny Green.
Yeah.
Crown their
We're
ass.
gonna do
Yeah,
a-
yeah,
we're
yeah.
gonna do a
They are
coach's
who we
quote
thought
list.
we-
We're gonna do a coach's
Okay,
quote
good.
list.
And but the
The
Mora
Mora.
one was so
Yeah.
good.
Play-
Playoffs. Playoffs. And he kept saying.
Yeah.
There was another famous Mora one where he telling the media, you know what? How many games did you play in the NFL? And he was pointing out specific reporters. What about you? Did you ever play in the NFL? How about you? You know the problem with the media? You think you know, but you don't. And you never will. And he was so true.
You play to win the game.
That's got to be number 1, right?
Or Mike Gundy.
Yeah.
No, Mike Gundy's a coach.
No, I'm saying we were just talking about the coach.
I'm a
Yeah.
man.
Oh.
Yeah.
Man.
I'm a man.
I'm 40. I'm 40.
Yeah, the
I'm a
mullet.
man and I'm
Go ahead,
40.
Anyone
Mike.
have any guesses on the number 1
Anybody
athlete
else?
It's not
From
coming to me.
quote of all time?
What we can
Number
we're
1.
making a guess.
Iconic sports quote. Yeah.
I'll give you one hint.
Go ahead.
It's on every poster you've ever seen in a college dorm.
Oh man.
But someone Bo Jackson?
Is it a
Just do
marijuana leaf?
Let's take it. It's from the legend, Muhammad Ali.
Oh,
That is a good one.
Roll
Yeah,
like
that
a
is very
butterfly, sting like a bee.
No, that is very
I mean,
good.
Muhammad Ali is the greatest trash talker ever.
Fact.
Yep.
He invented it.
I mean, there was nobody better than Muhammad Ali.
I mean, did anybody do it before him? Can
Not
anybody
that, like,
think
you
of
know
anybody
about.
that did it before him?
I mean, it probably happened, but
he
it
would
wasn't
write
famous.
poems and deliver them in pre-fight news conferences, predicting what round he was going to knock out his
I mean, it
opponent.
was
Yeah,
unbelievable.
He was the
And he
first-
usually did it.
He was the first person to get with like a, I don't know if it was scripted, but he's the first dude to get with a journalist, and we gonna go back and forth. Me and you.
You're right.
We got a script, and you come on, Howard Cosell. Come on, Cosell. He would make fun of him, and I'm like, bro, this is. I would watch the old joints in black and white. It's groundbreaking.
Yeah.
Like.
Well, those interactions between Muhammad Ali and Howard Cosell were great, though.
Epic.
yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's-
It was
I mean,
epic.
it's crazy.
You know, the first time I met LeBron, and I asked him, I said, do you like Skip? Do you hate it? And he goes, no, I don't hate it. I got a lot of respect for Skip. I'm Muhammad Ali, and he's Howard Cosell.
Oh wow.
Which was really interesting when he said that. I'd never thought about
And
that.
what a boost to both of their egos.
No kidding.
You know what I mean?
Put
Can you
yourself in
imagine?
that neighborhood.
Uh-huh.
Did you say that?
Did you tell Skip that? And he's like, I kind of am Howard Cosell.
But you know what?
huh?
Now, when you think about it,
Yeah.
like Howard Cosell was the GOAT because he was the first really to
Yep.
make sportscasting like a personality thing.
Yeah.
But when you think about it, and you think about Howard Cosell, like who is the Howard Cosell of today?
Right.
It probably is Skip. It probably is.
I think of Howard Cosell as a play-by-play guy.
No, you do.
Yeah.
I know, but a lot
Yeah.
of folks just remember him for his interactions with
Yep.
with Muhammad Ali.
When you talk about eras, like personalities, for me, it went with, it started with Howard Cosell, then you got into Madden, and then once you get to Madden, then another era people forget. Nobody was bigger than Jim Rome at one point in time. It was
on radio.
I was never
on
a fan on radio.
On radio. He never was.
period.
I was never a fan.
Still
but,
hasn't figured out how to do
I mean,
TV.
he had.
Well,
he had,
he's an afterthought.
that
He's not
whole
big anymore.
that whole clone thing. He had people
Yeah, he had an army.
walking around talking about clones.
That
was kind of a cult.
I'll never
It was a
forget
cult.
when I was working in New York. Now I was part time. I wasn't one of the regular hosts, but like I was on a lot. And I remember I was doing an appearance at a bar in I don't even remember where it was, somewhere in Brooklyn. And this guy comes up to me and he goes like, "I'm Joe the caller or whatever. I didn't remember his name from the Jim Rome show." Looking at me like as if I should know who he is. 'Cause
Yeah.
he's a caller
Yeah.
from the Jim Rome show.
Right.
He had a
Which
cult.
was weird.
He had
No, he
a
was
cult.
big in that space. But if you really look at,
Yeah.
like LeBron is, I don't know, I'm not going to say he's Muhammad Ali, but he is and has been for a couple of decades the most influential athlete
Yeah,
maybe
I mean,
in the world.
I don't think anybody can compare
No,
to Muhammad
that's why I
Ali.
said I
but-
don't want to compare him
but
to
if you're
Muhammad
gonna,
Ali.
I mean, he's the
But
closest thing,
he's
probably.
a poor man's Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, I mean-
and Skip is a poor man's Howard Cosell.
Don't clip that part and send it
and
to him. Just send him the
LeBron,
first
you know.
part.
Yeah.
Ignore that we
Or bleep out the poor
He
man.
won't get this far into it.
If
anyway.
you got one name and they know who you talking about, LeBron.
Tiger.
And in sports too, if I say Skip,
Skip,
to anybody,
everybody
they're
knows.
going to know who
That's
I'm talking about.
Yep.
Shannon is
Skip
actually,
Holtz?
Shannon is actually on that level too. Like I'm trying to think,
Shannon
he
is
creeping.
low key, very, very good.
Yeah.
What you mean?
Like I think I wish he got a little bit more respect in the ratings. They're still getting buried by First Take,
Right.
which kind of surprises me, honestly.
I like his podcast. Shannon is.
Have you seen Skip's podcast?
Oh, Skip's podcast. I don't know.
He
got
might
a
be the
whole
most
team.
compelling storyteller ever.
He's sitting there with one camera, and they got the camera angles moving and panning on him. He's sitting there taking his.
And it's just him.
And it's him with that. And by the way, Skip, I know what you did. See, Skip used to wear other things. Now Skip comes out in the outfit. He got a uniform. He has the uniform, the black,
All black.
with the chain.
Yep.
That's Skip.
And the white kicks.
And he don't change. He got 1,000 of them fits. I'm like, he done went full dark man
right.
character.
Yeah.
He the
Wow.
man in black.
He embraced it.
All right,
We got to get to final takes.
Oh,
but
let's do
what
good bet,
changed
bad
up?
bet.
Yeah, good bet, bad bet. We got to do it.
Rapid
You want to
fire.
run through them real quick? All right, yesterday, G. Bush and Jay went 3-0. Bull, you went 1-2.
That's
Okay,
what's
there
up.
we
About
back.
time you guys
Closing the
had
gap.
a good day.
You are still up by a lot of games. Let's get the
How
standings
many's a
up.
lot? How many?
Come on.
You guys made up two games.
We finagled the
By the way, have
camera
we
shot
talked
for a
about
sec,
our
but-
Cleveland sign? Has anybody talked
We
about our
did
new
talk about it.
Cleveland
Yeah,
sign?
Right.
Okay.
And
That
have we
was great.
And have we talked about our fantasy league?
G. Bush, you have 97 wins. Jay has 99. Bull has 108.
I mean, you
Not
guys
bad.
made up two games and you're still way behind.
Well, now wait a minute. I've got a lot fewer games.
I mean,
because there was like a week where
He
I
was
just
on the
didn't-
DL.
I was out, man. I wasn't thinking about anything sports related. So I'm only
I'm 21 games over.
I've only got 2 more losses than you. That's it.
But I'm 21 games over.
But you do know if you lose the fantasy, that none of that counts.
I'm not going to lose a fantasy.
The fantasy is
Hey,
the
Mike
fantasy
Polk
is
has
the
a
cup.
dentist appointment he has to get
Oh,
to.
yeah.
We're
All right,
gonna do
yeah.
Final takes. And
I'm
Polk's
going to
gonna
Browns
go
camp
first.
today, so I'll have hopefully
All
some
right.
good insight tomorrow.
Who's starting?
I'm
final
starting
takes?
because I have a dental appointment
Go ahead.
right after this, and I don't want to be late.
Oh, so you're leaving.
Couple of thoughts.
Mid-set.
Yes, I am. I'm the hell out. So first thing, couple of quotes we forgot, both by Charles Barkley. One of them was when he was stepping down. Finally, he said at his press conference, first line, "I know what you all are thinking. Another unemployed black man." That's a pretty great line. Another one was a result of being right here in Cleveland. He got into a bar fight in the flats, threw a guy through a window. Somebody asked him later on if he regretted anything about throwing somebody through that window in the flats, and he said, "Yes, I regret that we were on the first floor." That guy ruled. Great quotes.
I thought you were saying I'm not your role model.
Next thing, I like that one too. The next thing I wanted to say is I was thinking about it, and I made a joke at the expensive Dawson Deaton earlier, the guy who hurt his ACL. And I feel kind of bad about that. I hope he feels better, and I hope you heal up and you have a great career and everything like that. And I hope it's with the Cleveland Browns. Feel better, young man. And then the last thing is dentistry. Let's talk about it. I'm about to go to a dentist appointment right now. It's going to be probably a little painful. Getting some work done. Probably going to be pretty expensive. I'm thankful that I do have dental care, which I've had plenty of periods in my life where I didn't have dental care, and it stinks. I don't understand it. It's a horrible, expensive world. I now have it, but it's still not great dental care, to be honest. It's sort of like a gift card you get at the beginning of the year for like $40, and then the rest is on you. But it's still better than nothing. And I've had nothing in the past for dental care. especially that in-between period after college. I was like just working part-time jobs and stuff like that, and still putting in over 40 hours, but didn't have any dental care, so you have to resort to some pretty awful things. I got dental care at Case Western Dental College for a while. At a very inexpensive rate. My dentist was a dentist in training, not quite a dentist yet. He's like 22 years old, and his name was Corey. That was comforting. Corey had to postpone one of our appointments one time because he was in an ultimate frisbee competition. I am not lying, and I let him go. I was like, that's fine. We can do it an hour later, Dr. Corey. So I'd been down that road. I also, this is not a joke, at one point, did my friend Jim Tooze, also like a comic, he and I, a good friend of mine, did dental work on each other by watching YouTube. Oh my God. Nothing major, just a little bit of like cleanup and concreting because we were just kind of in that position. He did a really good job and I did a terrible job on him. So I still apologize for that. I actually still have the filling that Jim Tooze put in my tooth. And the dentist said he did a great job. The point is we shouldn't have to resort to these sorts of things in a first world country where we're doing dentistry on each other, because at the time I wouldn't have had the $300 or whatever it would have cost to do that, or it would have put me in the hole for a while down the road. I don't know what the solution is. I just know that there are a lot of people who are kind of in between right now, and people who are putting off dentistry because of the expense of it. And that's terrible, because in the long term, it affects your long-term health. Here's a real quick quote that's boring. Sorry, guys. Researchers have found a tie between poor oral health and higher rates of diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and pulmonary infections. Vision loss and hearing loss are associated with a higher risk of falls, depression, and cognitive impairment. And it could lead to higher rates in a hospital, hence it'll be more expensive down the line because we don't take care of this stuff when we can, when it's still affordable. So I'm thankful for my dental insurance right now, and this is in no way a reflection upon Dr. Stephen P. Marsh, whom I'm about to go and visit. If you're watching live, I love your work. Let's keep those hands steady, sir, and let's keep those bills nice and low. All right, thanks, everybody.
It's a disgrace in this country.
He literally has to go.
Go, Mike, go.
He texted me at about 11:20 and said, I have a dentist appointment at 11:30. It's 25 minutes away. I have to go first on final takes.
Hey, peace out,
Polk,
man.
have a good one, brother.
It's a disgrace in this country that health insurance is tied to our jobs. People stay in jobs they don't like because of it.
That's the best final take of all time.
You're right.
He just ran out.
He's
All
right,
right,
though.
drop.
All right, guys.
We don't have dental insurance. It doesn't come
You
with.
don't?
Nope.
No.
We don't have any insurance.
We shouldn't. It shouldn't be through your job. But anyway, listen. More important than dental insurance. That's important. But what's more important is the end of an era. Last night was the final episode of Better Call Saul on AMC. Now, if you have lived the Breaking Bad / Better Call Saul life for the last 12 years, or 12 seasons over, 12 or 15 years, you saw it come to an end. Now, maybe you haven't had a chance to watch it yet, so I won't give any spoilers. I will say that I enjoyed the final episode. Bob Odenkirk, who's a comedian and was on Saturday Night Live back in the day, is obviously the star of Better Call Saul. But Ray Seahorn, who plays Kim, his wife, and then eventually ex-wife, deserves a lot of credit. She should win it. If she hasn't won what is it for the TV? Emmys?
Yeah.
Emmys. If she hasn't won an Emmy at this point, I don't know what the hell happened. I don't know what the Emmys are doing. They're still giving it to, like, those dopey shows on network TV that pretty much all suck.
They haven't won an Emmy in years.
What?
Network shows.
Oh, they don't?
No.
Good. They shouldn't. So she deserves it. It was a great way to go out. Breaking Bad was great. Better Call Saul was great. If you haven't watched them, start doing it now.
Well, this is easy. This is an easy one. Shout out to my wife. So if you don't know, my wife came here on a K-1 visa. We've been married over a year. So when you get here, you can't drive. You have to get adjusted. So we did driving, and we drove around, and we got her together, and she finally passed her driving test. So,
Nice.
So for me, look, passed her driving
Mike
test,
was
right?
honking the horn.
So she passed her driving test, and so before then, I used to have to get up at like 6 to go take her to work. She works in Seoul, and I live in Lakewood. And then I used to have to go. I come here, do the show. Then I would try to work out or try to do what I can or whatever, and then get back. And then I would have to be back on the road to pick her up in rush hour traffic. So we did that for the last 3 months. So we were going to go get her a car, and we was like, okay, we got to figure out what we're gonna do. And I was just we were going to get a new cheap car. I don't know, she wanted a Honda or something. And so I leave, and I'm coming back, and I'm talking to a guy. And she surprised me and bought me a car.
What?
Wow.
So my wife brought me a car, and I didn't even know. She had it all set up and everything.
Look
so
at that.
What kind of car?
She bought me a Range Rover.
Wow. You like it?
What you mean?
What's not to like about a Range
What are
Rover?
you talking about, bro?
No, I'm saying.
Hell yeah! so she's
That's awesome.
She's super smart. So she has an immigration consulting business. So she's like, I don't know, she's kind of cool. So
doing
she's
her thing.
freaking awesome, man. And she's an accountant. So congrats, thank
Kudos
you
to your wife.
Thank you, dear. Thank you, dear. You're the best.
awesome.
You're the best wife ever.
Buying
And-
you a car.
That just beat Mike Polk's last take.
But she did say I can't buy no more shoes. So Tyvis, the competition is off because I have a Range Rover.
Tapping out. That's okay.
Well,
You
what
got
I
the
mean,
Range
you can't
Rover.
argue there. She bought you a car. You can't argue
I
about
can't
it.
say nothing.
Yeah.
I got a minute and change. I was going to go nuts on analytics. That's not
Tomorrow.
enough time to go nuts
Save it for
on
tomorrow.
analytics. So I am going to save it for tomorrow because I did a lot of research in preparing for my final take. They suck. I hate them. They've ruined sports. That's just a teaser for tomorrow's final take. I gotta have a follow on the Range Rover thing.
Yeah.
So you had no idea, bro.
None. I was just driving there, and she was like, "Yeah." She called the guy,
Man.
set it up, and I'm sitting there looking around. Now, mind you, like the last car I had, so when you get a divorce, you split up everything. So I split up. I'm like, yo, I got the car that was paid off. I had like a Mitsubishi 2011 Galant. It like fell apart. So and then when she got here, we was like, okay, we'll get it. I had a Nissan Rogue or whatever, and so I'm figuring like, yo, I'm about to just, we'll go get a Honda and call it a day. But she had already all set
Now,
up.
what is she going to drive? Is she going to take your car?
Yeah, she took the Nissan Rogue. That was so
Dude,
nice of her.
You didn't just get married. You hit the lottery.
Oh yeah. I hit
You
the,
did.
Yeah,
Congratulations, man. That's awesome.
She put it on Facebook, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. It's so nice. So yeah.
Very nice, very nice. All right, we're out of time. We're still on Deshaun Watson Appeal Watch. Something could break later today. If it does, click us on. We'll send out notifications. If you're not following us on YouTube, do so, and then click the notifications bell so when we do break in, you'll know that we're talking about it, and you can come on, over and check us out. In the meantime, we're on a 22-hour break. We will see you guys tomorrow. Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Enjoy the rest of your day. That's a great image to say goodbye on. DeQuell as a biker.
That's crazy.
I've got a urinate.